cradle of civilization, the heartbeat of creation itself. Now her children return, calling her name again. Say Alkebulan, Alkebulan, the mother of life, the mother of life, where the sun first shines, where the sun first shines. Rise again, Alkebulan, rise again, Alkebulan. Hey! Oh, Alkebulan, Alkebulan, Alkebulan. Our ancient home, your children are calling, we're coming home. Oh, Alkebulan, the world must know you gave birth to the light, let your glory show. They changed your name to hide your fame. They broke the chains but kept the game. Divided your children with borders and lies, but truth never dies, it only multiplies. We are the sons and daughters of your soil, still rising strong from the years of toil. They took our name, but not our soul. Alkebulan still makes the broken whole. Say Alkebulan, Alkebulan, the mother of life, the mother of life, where the sun first shines, where the sun first shines. Rise again, Alkebulan, rise again, Alkebulan. Oh, Alkebulan, cradle divine, mother of kings, the first bloodline. Oh, Alkebulan, spirit of grace, we're reclaiming your name, we're finding our place. No longer shall we live in shame, forgetting our truth, our holy name. From the Nile to the ocean wide, your story flows, it cannot hide. From Kush to Kemet, glory untold, black and beautiful, strong and bold. They took our gold, they took our flame, but Alkebulan lives beyond the pain. They called you Africa, but you were more. You are the doorway the world was born through. The spirit of time, the rhythm of life. Alkebulan, our home, our right. Alkebulan, Alkebulan, the mother of life, the mother of man. Oh, Alkebulan, Alkebulan, the mother of life, the mother of man. Say Alkebulan, Alkebulan, the mother of life, the mother of. We are your children, forever united. Rise again, Alkebulan, rise again, Alkebulan.
Greetings, everybody. Greetings. How are we all doing?
Rise again.
Yep. Beautiful. Absolutely good. Okay, for those of you who enjoy the music, please put in the chat if you like the music. Let's get your feedback. So on a positive note, we started. So yeah, guys, welcome to another Alkebulan Awakening Series in collaboration with Kumbukeni. Hope you're all good. My name, as always, is Oladele Dosunmu, the son of the soil. You know why we are here. We're about decolonizing our minds, awakening our consciousness, and I'm saying this to all the Africans out there. Liberation, freedom comes from doing away with the colonial system. The colonial systems, the colonial tentacles will never, ever free Africans. If you still believe in that, then basically you're stuck in a matrix. We need to do better. We have systems in place that could free us from where we are, and we don't want to carry on with the same systems that got us to where we are. So, and this is the reason why we do this podcast, man. It's about awakening our consciousness and do what's needful for us to do to get us to where we need to get to, because the old colonial system is never ever going to free us. Anyway, my sister Nduku, up to you.
I am Nduku, the host on Kumbukeni, always collaborating with my brother because we are stronger together and we do not actually exist as individuals. So I'm always for us coming together to build that power and the strength to do the work that we need to do. I will say the song. The song does two things for me. It reminds me that we are victorious. It also reminds me what was done to us and by whom, so that we don't forget. And then at the end, it reminds me again, we are victorious and we need to, it gives me the task that we need to do right now. So I will dance through that song every day. And I urge you all to join me so that we can dance through that song. When we do conferences, we will use that song. When we get together, we will use that song. Yes, I'm ready for war.
Thank you very much. Okay, as you can all see, back again, Babajide Ojejinmi, the Dataconomist. If you want to introduce yourself to our people, please, my brother.
Yeah, good evening, everyone. Babajide Ojejinmi, the Dataconomist, as introduced. Yeah, it's good to be back to take this this discussion to the next level. You know, it was good to be on the last time. It was a great experience, and I'm looking forward to this evening's conversation. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you very much. Okay, guys, like Jide said there, we basically is a carry on from the last conversation that we had. We're talking about the new tax reforms that's about to happen in Nigeria from the 1st of January 2026. And we're questioning the thought process behind the new tax reforms, because a country that is wealthy in terms of resources, but hasn't got the infrastructures and anything in place that's going to empower the people. So we're questioning that. What's the thought process behind putting a tax reforms regime in place? Does it empower the people or does it not empower the people? So this is what Jide is here to do, just to break it down in numbers. So Jide, if you want to introduce the topic, and then we'll take it from you, my brother.
Okay.
Okay, let me put you in a second. Let's put you on the driving seat. Okay, you're in charge now. Yeah, go for it.
Thank you. So good evening, everyone. Thanks for your time and the opportunity to at least take us through the current situation we're facing in Nigeria. And I think, you know, in the bigger part.
Quickly, brother, quickly before you continue, do not click at any link you do not trust. Do not click at the link that is being posted. Unless it is a link by us, do not click. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you for noticing that. Thank you.
One brother.
Okay. Let me just make sure that my people
are I just noticed
safe on that as well. So if I go there. Okay, so just bear with me a second. Okay. So, like I was saying, you know, this presentation, I would probably prefer to be more of a discussion, really. You know.
Your voice, you're getting muzzled, bro. So we need you to be clear.
Okay, can you hear me now?
That's better, yeah.
Okay, sorry. Yes. So I think I would rather this be, you know, a more like a discussion around the issues facing Nigeria and Africa as a whole, around the systemic issues that we face on a day-to-day basis. I mean, you can see in the last few weeks what's been developing in Nigeria in terms of the insecurity. That, I mean, if you're going to put a value on that, a loss value on that, I mean, it's going to actually break the scale. And these are the kind of things that we are here today to look at and discuss. Excuse me. I was really hoping that um, we could delve deeper from an insider perspective from the get-go this evening, but I'm sure we'll probably get to the bottom of that as we progress through the presentation. So yes, I mean, we've talked about insecurity. I've looked at healthcare, situations where, I mean, I've had family members in years past where they go to the hospital to give birth, and they have to pay for the drugs. In some cases, they have to pay for injections, as in the syringes itself. They don't have majority of these hospital equipment or hospital you know basic you know utilities within the hospital do not exist, and it's still the case in Nigeria and most of Africa. So I think, you know, to the citizens of the countries, the African countries as a whole, yeah, they are already being taxed. They're already paying some form of tax. In Nigeria, there's power is still an issue. A lot of people still run generators. Some are now going solar. That's an expense. Imagine you've spent so much, to provide your own power over the year, and at the end of the year you have to now sit down and declare what they've tagged as a self-assessment, as obviously we do out in the UK and the US. But like I've said in my previous presentation, those economies are 99% formal economies. The Nigerian and most of the African economies are 3% formal, 97% informal. So basically majority of the African economies are informal economies. So not until we probably can set a threshold, yeah, that is acceptable, and the pockets of the ordinary citizens can cope with, do I think we should move to a place where we move that 97%, or like I said, maybe if we move that 97% to, say, about 40-60. So we have a 60% formal economy, then 40% informal. Then we can start to look at bringing that 40% into the tax zone, if I can call it that. Also, if we take the 3%, yeah, within that 3%, you've got the federal workers, you've got the state workers, yeah. These are and obviously the banking sector, the sectors that are already within that space. I think that's where this tax reform needs to be tested first. Okay, we roll it out. The federal workers, get onboarded onto the new platform that they're looking to create, followed by the state workers. Give it 6 months trial. Once that works perfectly, you iron out the kinks. Once the kinks are ironed out, you then move it to the banking sector. I mean, they'll already be paying their taxes, but we're talking about the new framework. Bringing everybody onto the new framework should be phased. It should be phased. It should be a phased process. Okay. And once you then finish that, we then should start looking at reforming the banking system itself. And what do I mean by that? I know some people may think, oh yeah, the banking system is reformed as it is. I think we still need to go a step further, in the sense that we need to make sure that we have a banking system such that we don't need to, how would I put it now, go and extract our whether it's foreign exchange in dollars, pounds, Japanese yen, obviously from our balance of trade activities, and and store it in some bank in the UK or US or Luxembourg somewhere.
We call it foreign reserves.
Yeah, foreign reserves, but I'm not just even talking about the foreign reserves now. I mean, the Nigerian foreign reserves, for instance, I found out many years ago, and I was quite shocked because growing up in Nigeria, everybody around you makes you understand or believe that, oh yeah, we're so good at everything we do, we're experts, all the banking directors, all the PhDs we have, etc., etc. Then fast forward to, I think it was 2003, 2004, and I found out that the Nigerians foreign reserves was being managed by a foreign bank. I'm like, okay, hang on a minute, so what's wrong with our banks? So you mean we don't have anyone in First Bank or UBA or some of these banks here that can do the same job as a foreign bank, and maybe you have our reserves in the First Bank, and they are liaising with I don't want to mention banks in New York, but you're liaising with them to manage any investments cross border. I mean, what's
Baba,
wrong with that?
Babajide, also the other risk that we face in that situation. This has happened in the United States before to our brothers and sisters there. They
Yeah,
built a banking system, but it was still aligned with the dominant
yeah,
classes system, right?
yeah.
And they ended up stealing all the money out of their banks.
Okay.
They took all the money out of their banks and destroyed the black banks.
Okay, so let me tell you. I'll let you into a little secret. You remember the financial crisis of 2008? Okay, now this is from my own personal research, and I don't care what anybody says. Okay, until you can bring me any other evidence that can tell me otherwise or that shows otherwise, then I'll listen to you, because I followed that period very closely and in a matter of factually. Okay, now the actual reason why the United States had to bail out all those banks, do you want to know what the real reason is?
Absolutely.
Okay, the real reason is, and I'll just describe it in a brief example. So as I've just said to you, in 2000, or let me put it this way: under General Olusegun Obasanjo's presidential term, so between 1999 and 2007, our reserves were in a bank in the US. I won't mention its name. Okay, now that bank was also caught up in the financial crisis of 2008, because they all were. Now, so can you imagine the United States going to Saudi Arabia, going to Qatar, coming to Nigeria, and all the banks and all the countries rather that they've been managing their foreign reserves, and going to them and saying, hang on a minute, we've just lost you your money? That's the real reason the
Yeah.
banks were bailed out.
To maintain their power internationally. Yep.
Well, to maintain the power internationally, but how do you can't go to a country and say we've lost your
Mhm.
40 billion reserves.
But
You
also
can't.
by acknowledging that shows you're not a good banker and it devalues your currency. So it would destroy the
Exactly.
dollar.
Exactly. So the question is, how much of our systems
Mhm.
um, are aware of these, realities? Or because I want to believe that I have a lot of, because I have a lot of peers in the Nigerian banking system, very brilliant guys. Okay. And I believe they can do the job of any Wall Street banker any day, anytime. They're that smart. Trust me. Yeah. So the question is, why are we not peer to peer managing our own resources? Why are we not doing that? Such that, okay, we've got, apparently our reserves, and Nigeria's reserves are now at standing at about $43 billion lately. Okay, we have that in a bank in Nigeria, First Bank, UBA, Access Bank, right? Why don't we just get them to manage it? Is it a trust issue? Which is why I'm saying that a banking reform should be one of the first things we do, such that even if we have errant politicians, yeah, errant politicians. So you see in this presentation, right? So I've talked about the banking reform and I've talked about the judicial reform because they go hand in glove, right? Because if someone errs, yeah,
Mhm.
and you want to clamp down on their bank account, what do? You go to the judiciary. You don't just make an order from above or from the above, as they say, and go and close somebody's account. No, you go to the judiciary. So if the judiciary is not um, solid, then how do we have a solid banking system? We can't. You understand? Everything is linked. Now, just to also allude to the fact that I think is the chief executive officer of Access Bank. He attended one of those African summits last year, and he said it openly. Why is it that we can't manage our own foreign reserves? I mean, we went to school with some of these guys, the best of these guys. We're actually better than them as well. Why can't we manage our own foreign reserves? But anyway, that died there, I think.
I mean,
If
it's
you know
it's
what I mean.
evident in Walter Rodney's book how Europe underdeveloped Africa, why we can't, and it's can't manage our own reserves, why we
Yeah,
won't be allowed,
yeah,
why we haven't been allowed to manage our own banks. And as you say, it's all connected. We do not have a defense system that's strong enough to leverage so that they are scared enough to mess with us. We don't
yeah,
have that.
yeah,
So
yeah,
we're very vulnerable, and therefore they can control us in this way. So when
yeah,
Nigeria says we're no longer bringing our money to you, they're going to be sanctioned. You'll see
yeah,
ships from UK heading to Nigeria to attack
yeah,
them. They'll be all. You see what I'm saying? So the conversation has to be holistic. Go on, brother.
yeah, yeah. Sorry, just bear with me a second. Bear with me. I think some people want to access that. Excuse me. Just bear with me.
If
Just
let me just make the announcement for you, brother. Unless you want to make the announcement, go ahead and make it on
no, it's all
broadcast.
right. Yeah. So as I was saying, yeah. So what we need to make sure we do is try and strengthen our banking system, strengthen the judiciary, and that would then dovetail into the tax reform, which would then give every citizen, that space to, if there's any issues, you go straight to your bank, you lodge a complaint, everything is tracked. If there are issues that are unexplainable and you have to take the bank to court, you then fall back to the judiciary, and everything follows step by step like that. But as things currently stand, it's not excuse me, it's not the setup in Nigeria is not such that the common man, yeah, the common man that they want to bring, so the 97% that they want to bring into the tax net, yeah, can be covered enough, to um when they have any issues around this tax. I know that they said there's going to be a tax ombudsman. Yes, you can have a tax ombudsman. That tax ombudsman sorts out your tax return. He's the one you go to for your tax return, amongst other things. Yeah. But if I have a complaint about the way my bank account has been accessed by the new inland revenue or Nigerian revenue service, for instance, how do I manage that? So these are some of the things that we need to manage, and we need to make sure are in place before we have um, the tax reform cover the entire workforce in Nigeria. And remember, just to highlight as well, I was going to, mention this to, our guest, but that we have, you know, I don't like quoting the World Bank, but unfortunately, we don't have a choice. They're the ones who manage the data. There's about 139 million at the moment Nigerians in what they've tagged multi-dimensional poverty. Yes, 139 million. Okay. Now, 139 million. So you're left with about what's that? About 85 million. Yeah. Of that 85 million, about 70 million, yeah, is the estimated Nigerian workforce. 70 million. Right? So what that means is that 70 million, 70, you want to bring 70 million Nigerians into the tax, this new tax reform, this new tax base. Okay, that is huge. Yes, it's going to make you a lot of money if you can execute it effectively. But I'll point this out to you. Did you see the videos of the church attack? Did you see that?
Yeah, I saw a couple, but like I said, I don't watch mainstream news.
Yeah, no. I mean, these are videos just doing the rounds.
Yeah.
What I want to point out there is that, okay, aside from the elderly, retired, grandmas, yeah, how many of those people now are you going to want to bring into the tax net, regardless of what they earn?
Impossible.
Would it be fair? Would it even be fair to bring those people into the tax net? All the people that have been victims of these recent attacks, you look at them, you look at where they live alone is a systemic failure of the system. No roads, no water, no lights. That's the basic of amenities they don't have. That's a tax. And now you want them, because they're collecting cash, yeah, you want to take a percentage of that to do what? To pay off the IMF loans. I'm not, look, this conversation we're having is not targeted at any one particular government, because my conclusion is, whether it's Obasanjo that was there, whether it's Buhari, whether it's Peter Obi, whether it's Ruto, whoever, it's all the same thing. I'm not attacking any government. It's an African problem. Okay, I'm going to, let me just digress a little and show. Let's put some facts up. Yeah, can you can, oops, sorry. Oh, people are saying technical issues.
That's okay. So make the announcement
Yeah,
where they can go to see what's like, if they want to see the
I've
live
done
right
that.
now.
I've done that.
All right.
I've done that. So I think he's
So
just
People,
sending me a
people are
message.
connected anyway. I can see the link there, so it's all connected.
Yeah.
to Babajide's channel.
Yeah, it's showing on here. Yeah.
All right. Okay. Good.
Yeah.
So he
Connected.
posted a
Mine is
new
connected,
link
but the
for
one
you all.
the original one I sent out in the week is failing.
So to all
Or
Babajide,
did not connect. But anyway, let's carry on.
no,
Yeah.
quickly,
Yes.
to all Babajide's followers, do not use the original link he sent you during the week. Use the link he just posted today. There's a new link. Thank
Or
you.
just go straight to his channel.
Yes. There you
Okay.
go.
Okay. So, where were we? So if we look at the figures, I just want to. So is it?
You made it
Visible
small.
enough?
You made it smaller.
Just a
Bit
little bigger.
smaller.
It's better to go across. Yeah, just a little
Okay.
bigger.
Okay, let me do this.
Better?
There you
Yeah.
go. Perfect.
Okay.
Yep.
That's better. Okay, so if we go down here, just right there. Okay, can we look at Africa's GDP at the bottom of the screen?
Yep. 2.91 trillion.
I mean, how does that make sense? 2.91 trillion, right? So let's just do a quick test. Yeah, and let's select France. Okay, so look at France's GDP.
Just France by itself. Africa has 54 nations. Keep that in mind.
Yes,
France is one nation.
That's the whole idea. That's the whole idea. France is one country, 3.03 trillion. Yeah. Africa is 2.91 trillion for 2023. Let's look at 2022. Yeah. Same, 2.78. Africa, 2.99. I mean, what's going on here?
Mm.
I mean, it's so, I mean, when I look at these numbers, I've been looking at these numbers for the past many years now, and it's very upsetting.
Brother, explain to the people what this means. What's
It's
Africa's
very upsetting
GDP?
because what it means,
Yeah.
what it means is that somewhere within this data set, yeah, there's inequality, financial inequality going on. I mean, France has had a very close relationship with the how would I call it, the francophone
The
countries,
francophone countries,
the
yeah.
Fasos, the Malis, and co. Yeah, and I mean, they don't have any uranium mines, do they?
No,
No,
they don't.
Do they have any gold mines?
no, they don't.
Okay, I'll share something else with you quickly now.
Quickly though, what does GDP? So that because we're throwing a number and not explaining what GDP
Okay,
is.
so the gross domestic product, yeah, is the amount of how would I put it now? The total gross domestic product of the country, adjusted to inflation. Yeah, as to the nominal GDP, which will be the based on the current market prices for that particular year. But
So
the gross
what that
domestic product
country is
is across for
producing,
that country. Yes, what that country is
what
producing
country is
across the
producing,
year.
manufacturing and
Manufacturing,
exporting.
fisheries, everything. And not necessarily export,
Okay.
but as a country, yeah,
Okay.
what the country produces for that particular year. Okay. Now you can see that France has 2.78, whilst Africa stands at 2.99 for 2022.
So
Okay.
essentially, it means that Africans are not being given the resources they need to survive.
Well, I won't put it like that. Okay.
Okay.
So it's not about Africa not being actually given the resources. It's about Africa not being allowed to uh, yeah, I know I'm being diplomatic, aren't I?
No,
Yeah.
but try as
Well,
you wish.
you know where you are.
No,
You
no,
know.
it's all right. It's all right. It's all right. Yeah, it's about fairness. Okay. The trade between Africa and the rest of the world is not fair. Okay. Now, if it were fair, and I'll use my usual orange analogy. If I plant an orange in my garden in Africa, okay, and I want to sell it to Europe, Europe will come to me and say, you know what, that orange, well, I'm only going to pay €1 for it, and there's nothing you can do about it.
Mhm.
That's the problem. Okay.
Yeah.
So until Africa realizes that, you know what, that orange, yeah, you want to pay €1 for it. Nah, I'm not taking it. It's going to be €5 or nothing. I'll take my orange, go and convert it into orange juice and store it in some freezer somewhere. But the problem is, on the smallest scale that I've just described now, which freezer am I going to store it in? There's no light. And that's the difference. Okay, it's also like me saying, okay, you know what? I'm not going to sell my gold to anyone anymore. Yeah, I will commoditize it, mine it, buy it off the artisanal miners, off the mining companies. Yeah, store it on the ground somewhere until the price is right. Imagine if Africa did that. Do you think we'll get this disparity, of figures, 2.78 versus 2.99? It's not possible. It's not going to happen. Yeah. Then you also have the foreign exchange side of things as well. I'll show you the disparities there. And that's where Africa leaches a lot of money. I'm telling you, because if for example, if the foreign exchange, I mean, we know it can never be that, but let's assume that the foreign exchange is 1-to-1 across board. I mean, the GDP of Africa will be, in the hundreds of trillions. I'm telling you, it will be in the hundreds of trillions, and you'll see that, from what I'm going to show you now. So if we go to, just briefly, before we go back to the main presentation, just to give people an idea of why these inefficiencies are very, very important at the highest level. Okay, so if we look at, so this is a currency analysis that I did, right? So if we look at Nigeria, okay, we can see the trend from 1999. Okay, let me just, so from 1960, yeah, we can see how the currency has moved. It currently stands at about 1,000 as of 2024. I think 1,450 is what we're using. 450, 477. Yeah, but look at where the currency stands. The currency valuation between 1960 and now is at minus 99.72. Yeah, the year on year between 2022 and 2023 is minus 14.46. That's devaluation.
Wow.
Devaluation. So the Nigerian currency is completely devalued.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So
Wow.
let's go down. So you can see here. So this is between, we look at this chart here. This is between 1960 and 2023. And you know what I love about my data set? Yeah, it speaks to me. It speaks to me. You can see what is going on
We need to
without
enlarge
being
this
told.
one.
So look at from 1985.
Just can you enlarge it just a little bit more? Just one.
Okay. Oh, okay.
There we go. At least there. Yeah.
Okay. So if we look at 1960, Nigeria gained independence. Currency was great. So from the Nigerian pound, then in 1973, it became the naira. You know, the currency was. Fast forward to 1985. Who was in power then? Muhammadu Buhari. Muhammadu Buhari came to power. He refused to listen to the IMF and the World Bank. He refused to devalue the currency. Under his, I think his minister at the time was Onorolakpo Sholeye. Very great man. I've been doing a lot of research on him. Over the last few years. Then fast forward to 1986, right here. General Ibrahim Babangida and his minister, Mr. Idika Kalu. Yeah. was his finance minister then, ex-World Bank man, came in, and what happened? We took the option of devaluing the naira, and look at what happened. Naira was devalued 42.8%, and fast forward to 2023, look at where we are. So by what? By 1992, we already entered 94.22, naira devaluation. And you think we can come out of this? We
And
can't come
brother,
out of this.
that's an IMF conditionality, right?
Yes.
Accepting. Yep. Thank you.
Devaluation.
Speak on that.
It's an IMF conditionality. Yeah. So if we now flip, well, not flip, let's go down to the year on year. So this is between 1960 and 2023. If we now look at year on year currency devaluation between 1960 and 2023, this looks like. Okay. So between, let's just skip to 2009. Between 2009 and 2003, you can see that the naira has most of the time been in the red. Yeah. Now, one of the most startling things again, if you look at, let me see what I did here. Okay, so let's flip down to. So look at the exchange rates for most of the countries of the world. Yeah. Which has the worst currency, or which country had the worst currency in 2023 rather? Iran. Yeah.
That's
So
ironic.
very, very. So if you scroll down, so you look at Iran's there, Vietnam's there, Indonesia's there. Vietnam has been able to sort of weather the storm a little, with some very good financial planning, if I can call it that, because they're doing quite well at the moment in terms of the economy. Yeah. Indonesia, I mean, the currency has fluctuated between, I think, 14,000, I think it's the Indonesian rupiah or something, and 15,000. Then we scroll down, all the way down. This is 2023, remember? So we're looking at, where is Nigeria? Nigeria is 600 and, is it there? Sorry, 1 second. What year are we? Oh, so that's even 2020. So let's look at 2023. Sorry.
To those of you who don't think we're on topic, maybe you need to increase your intellectual capacity.
No. We're coming. We're coming. We need to set the ground. Yeah. So yeah, so we can see Nigeria there at 638 naira to the dollar. Now, what do we see here? So you can see the US and European exchange rates for that year. Yeah. And you can see the African exchange rates. So the African exchange rates remained devalued, while the what's it called, the European and US exchange rates are not, they maintain their value. That's what this chart tells you. Yeah, you can see
but
that.
this is also because the person who's valuing our currencies is the enemy. It's not us.
I mean, you're putting it very, very, very nicely, if you know
But
what I mean. Yeah, you're putting it very, very nicely. So if we look at, there's an interesting thing I want to point out here as well. Where is it? So can we look at these currencies here? So from Benin all the way to Togo, what do you see?
Oh, we need to enlarge it a bit.
So what you see, sorry, is the fact that they're all at 606.57 CFA. Oops, sorry. Let me just take that up a little.
All the nations are the same? All of
Yes,
those there?
yes. So you got Central African Republic, Chad, all the way to Togo. So all those countries, their currency was being managed, yeah, for want of a better word, by France.
Yep. Yep. How can Chad, as small as it is, be equal to Congo?
Well, there you go. There you go. So you can see that there's a distortion,
Yeah.
yeah, in the African economy versus the rest of the world. And these are some of the things that need to be managed. Look,
Yeah.
this topic is huge. It's beyond the scope of a 2 hour podcast. I can tell you that for free. And the inefficiencies is beyond this. We can't even deal with it in 10 hours. We can't. That's why I'm trying to set the
My
stage so
brother,
that
that's,
so that
that's a series. Yeah, just putting it out
yes,
there.
yes, it's a series. You understand? So let me just I'll flip away from here in a minute. Let's go to the next page just quickly and look at another very, very interesting thing. Okay. Here we have Nigeria's foreign reserves. Yeah. As 19. So let's do 2023. So 2023, they didn't have any reserves at all. Yeah. They didn't report any reserves, I don't think. Yeah. So they didn't report any reserves in 2023. Yeah. So 2022, the reserves were what? 35.56 billion. So that was under President Buhari. But still look at the currency devaluation for that year. Yeah, obviously from 1960 to 2022, then year on year. So the previous year, 2021 versus 2022, there was a 5.83 devaluation of the currency. Okay, so that's an ongoing, continuous thing. So, and the IMF will continually come to you to say, oh, if you're going to collect this loan, if you're going to do this, if you're going to do that, well, you're going to have to devalue your currency more.
And we
Um,
accept.
so that and we accept. Look, from this report that you see here, my conclusion or my findings is that the naira, even though maybe the central bank governor Olayemi Cardoso may not agree with me, should be nothing less than say about 10 naira to the dollar.
Can I make a statement, brother, and let's see
Please,
where it goes?
yes,
Africans, since you're still in a democracy state of mind and we're
yeah,
still voting, right? Do not vote for any leader. Like if they've been in leadership before, do not re-elect them if they have borrowed any loans from the IMF and the World Bank. That by itself shows you that your leader is not for your people. If they've taken a loan, I don't care what they tell you. If your leader has accepted a loan, that shows they are not for you. Because the conditionalities that are always no failure attached to IMF and World Bank loans are taking away from African people.
Absolutely.
So
yeah,
They,
that let
yeah,
that be your driving force moving
they
forward.
basically
yes,
compromise from the outset.
yes. And there's one other thing that and this is in the public domain. There's a lady that did a TEDx talk, an Igbo lady that did a TEDx talk a few years ago. Very impressive presentation. She said she's ex World Bank as well, yeah, but she left the World Bank for personal reasons, along these lines.
I know who you're talking about.
You know who I'm talking about,
I
yeah.
know. Yeah,
So
I've watched the video.
so she said that a lot of her colleagues, when they go to meetings in Africa, yeah, let me start with Asia. So they go to meetings in Asia. Yeah, those meetings go on for hours. So you've got to dot the I's and cross the T's, etc., etc. But the ladies' colleagues didn't like going to those meetings. They preferred going to the African meetings. You know why? Because as soon as they get in, they have the tea, coffee, and within minutes, the meeting is over. Documents are signed without, proper checks. And that's the problem. Because how do you sign an IMF document yeah, and you don't really understand the consequences of what you're signing. That's a big problem. And that's why we and remember those IMF conditionalities, yeah, it is the taxes that are going to be paying that monthly payment. That's what they want to use this for.
Brother, the other thing we're not saying there is in Asia, there are no CIA operatives threatening the government before the IMF arrives and forcing them to sign in 2 minutes.
Yeah, but do
In
you know why?
Africa,
But
there
do you know
are
why?
CIA operatives. Explain why,
Well,
please.
but do you know why?
Why?
And this is what a lot of I think um, Africans get wrong when they try to make inference to China, Singapore,
Yeah,
Vietnam, and all those places. You see, there's
thank
a
you.
difference. There's there are cultural differences. Okay, remember the Chinese fought a very good battle with
The Brits.
Britain,
Yeah.
right? And they take from that. And another thing they I have not seen them do is that they whatever they're going to do, they don't put it out there in the public, but you can see the results of what they've done so far. And that's what's happening everywhere in Asia. Singapore, the one of the miracles of the world, as people like to say, but they will never tell you what they did. Yeah, they put a bit of I've seen watch so many videos of Lee Kuan Yew now. Probably I can even probably wake up in the middle of the night and start describing him in those videos. You know what I mean? But what I'm trying to say here is that he will tell you what they did, you know, um, from a very simplistic perspective, but they will never delve into the details of what they did to actually grow that economy on the backstage.
But there's also the fact that in China, first of all, China leverages their power, which they have taken years to build a
Yeah,
position of power,
yeah,
right? So they're not
yeah,
showing up at the table as powerless.
yeah,
Second of all, there are consequences if you're found in China as a covert operative. We don't
yeah,
have those in
yeah,
our motherland.
yeah,
If you as a CIA agent or whoever other agent of whatever other nation is found in China, you're done.
yeah. Yes, yes. So that's what I'm saying.
We
So
don't have that in our motherland.
yeah, because yeah, we don't have it, and those are the things that we need to do. And why don't we have it? There's no loyalty amongst the tribes. There's no loyalty. I mean, look at what's happening in Nigeria. The northerner doesn't trust the westerner. The westerner is doesn't trust the easterner. The easterner is Yoruba man. Instead of us coming together to say, look, let's drive this thing forward together, a common front. You know, no, we instead we're stepping on each other's toes. That's the main problem.
But
So when
that's
you go,
that was created though, bro.
it was created, but like I've tried to discuss with a lot of my friends. They're saying, "Oh yeah, colonization happened so many years ago. We should try and get over it now, etc., etc." Yes, we should, but it seems like it's still very much ingrained in our existence.
Yep.
Very much ingrained in our existence, in our daily activities.
Yep.
It's real. It is real. So how do we get over it?
That person who says colonization is over, ask them what currency they're using when they go to the resort in their current country.
I mean, well, I mean, I don't think in Nigeria they accept. I think they've banned that. The EFCC is now monitoring that. Actually, you can't
You don't
spend
have the
dollars.
resorts are not charging in dollars?
I don't think so. I don't think
Well,
if you
that's a
charge
step
in.
forward.
I mean, they I think they were doing it at some point, but I think they've put out the EFCC put out a warning, a few months ago that you can't do that, and if you do, you obviously you'll be cautioned. So yeah, I mean, there's a lot we can do, but let's now go back into the main matter. But before we even do that, there's another just quick thing to add to this makeup. Yeah. So our reserves to GDP. So this is to also show that Nigeria's economy is not healthy. It's not in a healthy state. It's not in a healthy state. Look at that graph from 2006. That's the actual reserves that were reported to the reserve ratio to GDP, or reserves to GDP ratio rather, by the year. Yeah, the highest that we reached was 18.65 in 2007. Now disregard the zero because they did not, as at the time this report was generated, Nigeria hadn't reported their reserves. But as of 2022, reserves to GDP ratio was 7.52%. 7.52%. I mean, can you imagine that? Okay. Now, I want to share something with you. Yeah. So let's go back to this chart. Okay, but I will want to bring in a country here called Libya. Libya.
Yes,
Because
please bring her in.
I found out something very, very, very interesting about Libya when it comes to reserves and the inefficiencies within their system. Okay, so this was Libya. Let's look at which one should we look at? Yeah, let's look at this one. Right.
This one we need to expand to, please.
Yes. So let me do that. Then I will try and expand it from my view.
That's better. Yeah.
Okay. So let's see. Okay. Can we see that? Okay. So if we look at 2002, we can see that the gross domestic product was still hovering above the reserves. Yeah. Where is it? Yeah. So there. So I'm just waiting for it to show up. Okay. So in 2002, gross domestic product was about 20 billion, as to a total reserves of 15 billion or 16 billion. They were doing very, very well. I mean, any country that has this kind of ratio is doing very well. But what do I want to show you? Fast forward to 2006. Bear with me. My computer is a little bit slow. Okay. Yeah. You can.
And GDP is money you're spending to produce, right? So it's an expense.
No. So it's money you make from production.
Thank you.
Yeah. So gross domestic product. So the money you make from production.
And the reserves is your profits that you have stored away.
Yes.
Okay.
And it's usually in cash, foreign exchange, cash, and gold. So this figure is cash and gold.
So GDP is before you take out the expenses. The reserve is what remains after you take out the expenses.
Yes.
Thank you.
Yes. Yeah. So in 2006, Libya had a GDP of about 60 billion with total reserves of 62 billion. You know what that means? That means your reserves are more than your gross domestic product, right? Now, in 2011, you all know what happened in 2011, right?
Yes, Muammar Gaddafi was destroyed.
Okay, so if you look at the GDP, so look at how much the economy was making, 48 billion. Look at the reserves. At that point, they were the richest country in the world. When I put all these charts together against any country in this data set, Libya was the richest country in the world in reserve terms. And this is where I'm saying Nigeria needs to be, such that we don't need to pay tax. Or let me not say we don't need to pay tax. Let me say the 97%, the informal sector in today's economy do not need to pay tax. This is the kind of setup you need to have over the next 5 to 10 years to turn those figures around, like you said in the last presentation, to flip the 3% to 3% formal to 3% informal. Then we now have a 97% formal economy. This is what we need to do.
Brother
So
Babajide, how do you think Libya got to 106 billion? How do you think they got to that as their reserves?
Well,
And their
I think
GDP?
you're trying to push the
I
boundaries
will
there,
push
aren't
you
you?
all the way to the edge. Make sure you
You're
don't
trying to
fall,
yeah,
but all the
yeah,
way to the edge,
you're
please.
trying to push the boundaries there. Well, I mean, if I take it from the data that's widely available out there, I would say yeah, Gaddafi did a very he did a very good job at keeping uh, 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 maintaining his respect, yeah, within the business landscape. He was able to comfortably sell his resources and do whatever, you know, he pleased, for the country. Okay, so he managed the economy very well. Yes, he did whatever he wanted to do in the background. I don't care about that. I'm more about the financial numbers, and some of the things that apparently he did for the country. You apparently, when you get married, he gives you 50 grand. They didn't have any power with. Sorry, they didn't have any issues with power. Utilities were working. Then I think he also gave them a free house. Once you get married, you get a free house. If you want to go and do a master's abroad, you got it. I mean, why wouldn't you be able to do that if you had this kind of reserves?
And it also promotes marriage
Oh
in the
yes,
community.
promoting. Yeah, exactly. And that's what I guess um, is quite an anomaly in some spaces, if you know what I mean. So yeah, so I just wanted to share this as a precursor to what we should be doing in Nigeria. Once we remove the inefficiencies from the oil sector, remove the insecurity inefficiencies, remove the infrastructure inefficiencies, roads, hospitals, education again was free, like I mentioned, in Libya. In the news a couple of days ago, or was it yesterday? I think uh, um, a court in Nigeria has now ruled, or in Lagos, I think, has now ruled that um, free education must be, or is compulsory. In Lagos. Yeah, these are the things we should be doing with our resources, because we have these resources. We just
You,
need good managers, not leaders now, good managers, and we should stop parroting what's it called, Adam Smith's economics,
mhm.
because it doesn't work for us. It doesn't.
You forgot
We
one
need to.
thing, though. You
Yeah, go
forgot
on.
one thing that Muammar Gaddafi did.
Tell me.
He removed the imperialist.
Yeah, I mean, we know he did that. Yes, we need
No,
to
but
put it
that's
out there.
you
Well,
Yeah,
but
can
that's
build,
basically
you
what we
can
need to be
build,
doing.
yeah, you can build
yes,
all you want, you can
yeah,
invest all you want, but as long as the imperialist is there, it will be nothing.
And
yeah,
this is what a lot of us don't want to confront. Our
Yeah.
yes,
biggest impediment is the imperialists, because we're basically using the playbook that's not working for us
yeah,
to
yeah,
basically be a solution.
yeah,
The
yeah.
solutions of oppressors can never free you. And this is where we Africans are just so educated but miseducated in the same
It's
time.
it's crazy. So if you look at the GDP chart, let's look at Nigeria's GDP chart. Yeah. So you can see here from 2014 to 2023, the GDP has crashed. It's actually crashed to 188 billion. Right. In that time, I'm sure we've created quite a number of PhDs. Yeah. In that time, we've created a lot of PhDs. I have university graduate data for the country between 19, I think was released 19, between 1988, or from 1988 or so. The rate of graduates in Nigeria has been going up. In short, it's been going up since 1960. Yeah. If you overlap that across the performance of the country, it doesn't make sense. Yeah, we have Nigerian graduates doing very well in the US, very well in the UK,
Exactly. They
and everywhere
moved from
else.
Nigeria. Yep.
But look at Nigeria.
Yep.
You understand? We need to start to put numbers to these things. If you I'm sure if you overlay the chart, I'm sure some of these PhDs will start keeping quiet, as in the ones based in Nigeria, because you're not adding any value to the economy.
My brother, and I don't know why I even talk about those educated, because they're not educated, they're miseducated. We just give them grace. They're not educated. They think they are, but all they do is gobble up all the imperialist crap, which is useless. It's useless to us.
Let's make it clear, brother. Let's make it clear, because it's not all useless, right? The skill you learn is useful. The conditioning of your mind, because they make it compulsory for you to take certain classes where that's where the conditioning is, right? The conditioning you get, and if you go in them looking at whiteness as pure or purity, then you are going to be conditioned. But if you go in them knowing I'm African, I'm grounded in African Afrocentrism, everything is African, I'm grounded in the well-being of my people, I am here just to get a skill. That's it. Whatever else they say around that skill, if they tell me the first white person, no, I'm rejecting that. I'm just learning how to build a machine. I'm learning how to build an aeroplane engine, because we don't have that at home yet. So go get that skill and then go home and build.
And that's why we talk about decolonizing your mindset. It's very, very important.
Yes,
that's the key.
Yes, but there's one thing that I observed. And I don't think I blame the UK US universities, because at the end of the day, majority of the programs, especially the master's programs, are funded by companies. Yeah, so they fund those companies will fund the topics, right? Because they want the individual to do that research on behalf of for their company.
Yeah, but my brother, they fund it. The word fund.
Yeah.
So it says everything.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. So if a Nigerian comes to a university in the UK expecting to write a thesis on, I find over the years Nigerians get so excited. I want to write this on Nigeria. All of a sudden, you go to your lecturer and tell him, "Oh, you are choosing a topic on this." Oh, no, you can't do that. You got to choose from one of these topics.
Exactly.
Yeah, and that's why at the end of the day, graduates then go back to Nigeria and struggle. You cannot apply, the economics you've learned somewhere else to Nigeria. It's not going to work.
It goes back to the miseducation, my brother. It goes back to the miseducation.
Yeah. It's not like medicine where you can. Nigerian medicine, I doff my hat to it, because they don't even have half the equipment that exists in the West, and they come out here and become the best of the best. You understand? That's a different scenario. But where economics is concerned, you come out here, you go to London School of Economics, you do a module called global whatever. That global or globalization module you're doing, it's an anti course, because it's not going to help you when you get back to your country.
It's anti-African.
Yes.
You have to be a genius when you do something like that, of going there. It's almost like you're learning about them and how they manipulate the globe and global economics. And while you're learning about them and how they do it, you're grounding yourself on, how can I flip this to help my people? Like, you have to be operating in two mindsets when you're in that space. And we have to intentionally do that.
Yeah.
And then you, the pioneers of this, are going to come back and build an economics program that is African grounded in Nigeria, so that no more Nigerians are going to the UK to learn bullshit.
Yeah. And let me tell you something that I found out. I think it was sometime last year, and I was very, very. It was quite painful, So it revolved around this research that I've been doing, for the past few years. So I called up one of the top universities in Nigeria, asked to speak to one of the heads of department of the economics department of that university. So I, got talking to him, and I said, "Look, I'm doing this research. Yeah, it's a personal research, it's a private research, and I need access to topics that you've done since the department was created from day dot. He said, no, yeah, you can't get that. I'm not even sure you can get up to maybe 10, 15 years. So he went, checked, said, yeah, said maybe you can get, topics from the past 10, 15 years. Said, okay, that would do. I can still do my random sampling on that. Yeah. Then the next question I asked was, so what is your engagement with the business community, the Nigerian business community? Because, in that time, I've also been looking for research material from top professors in, Nigerian universities to see if I can find anyone to sort of, look at and admire their work and say, oh yes, it's similar to, their findings are similar to what I'm finding, etc., etc. And I'm like, I couldn't find any. Anyway, he said to me, yeah, they don't do any engagement with any business. And there and then I said to myself, herein lies the problem. Herein lies the problem.
How do you analyze business without having engagement with
how
business?
do you analyze your country? I'm even looking at it from a country perspective. The top people that do stuff in the UK here are the London School of Economics, Imperial College, you name them, Cambridge, Oxford, you name them. So my expectation, like anything else, was that, University of Lagos, Obafemi Awolowo University, maybe University of Ahmadu Bello University, Nsukka, the top universities in Nigeria will be fully engaged with the government to say, yes, we've written these papers. It's completely localized economics that we feel can work for the country, not, Adam Smith's economics that was written during a very, very, dark era, of our existence. This is ours. We think it can work. None. And that's a big problem. And that's why these inefficiencies that I'm highlighting here have not been touched from a cost perspective. I watch all the presentations by numerous economists that have come on the various channels on in Lagos. I've seen all of them. They're all presenting reports. There's no deep analysis on, okay, let's look at how this Ibadan Expressway, for instance, how much it's costing the country, the airports, the seaports, so we have a lot of work to do. But to go back to the presentation, I've written here that, because I don't want our viewers to think, oh yeah, this guy is based in London, he's going to come and tell us what to do, etc., etc. No, that's not what this is about. Okay, Taiwo Oladele has said, what they are implementing in Nigeria is what they've been implementing in the UK and the US and everywhere else in the world.
It was cooked in the US and the UK. They're serving it to you.
In the US and the
just
UK.
serving it to you.
Yet some people are feeling that, people like us will come into the country and want to dictate to them. They're already dictating to you.
I know.
They're already dictating to you because the IMF, the tax that's going to be collected, it's going to go towards paying back the loans that they collect from the IMF and World Bank.
And this is the reason. This is the reason why we got the new tax reforms, guys. If you haven't got it, let it ring bells. This is basically why the tax reforms are coming, because the World Bank, the IMF are sitting in your minister's office, dictating what they want to do. This is what Taiwo Oladele is basically following. Guys, I saw Taiwo Oladele with Bill Gates. For me, that says everything.
Absolutely.
Well, I haven't even seen that.
Sorry. The moment I saw that sometime last year, that was it for me.
Yeah.
So it's a. I'm sure everybody knows about Rich Dad Poor Dad. Yeah. Yeah, you know about Rich Dad Poor Dad.
Oh, right? Yes. Yeah, I know. I can't remember his name, but I know.
Robert
Kiyosaki. Yeah.
Kiyosaki, right? What does he say? He says, you don't buy depreciating assets, right? You let your investments work for you. right? The IMF, the World Bank is giving you loans as investment, and you must put in place a vehicle to pay back that investment. And it's going to go into perpetuity.
And this is why there's no funds to do infrastructure development.
None. And guess what makes it worse? You collect those loans. So it's almost like you're collecting dollars to build in Naira, which is almost like a double whammy for you. So you collect the loan, you are giving it, so you convert that loan to Naira. You're now using it to do palliatives, you're using it to build roads and all that. Come on. You don't need to collect dollars to do local things, right? You collect the loans, dollar loans, to use it to buy products that you can't manufacture locally. But you then bring those products in and use it to drive production locally that will then give you the foreign exchange without having to rely on foreign exchange. But you must not be reliant on foreign exchange, because that's another problem. But that's subject for another discussion on another day.
You're forgetting one thing too, again, which is why I'm saying the solution is to not even accept the loans. They will never let you do that. With the loans, you will not get a loan if you do not sign legal documents with consequences that you will not do that.
To do what they want you to do.
Yeah. So for me, I don't know how we can get out of that, to be honest.
I was about to flip a finger.
Get out of it, but
because that's what we need to
do. The only way we can get out of that is if there's a how would I put it? A new dispensation, a new way of thinking, a new crop of individuals who come up and say, okay, you know what, we've had enough of this. We're going to start our own new party, and they get the following, and the Independent National Electoral Commission decides to play fair, and these guys are voted in. Boom. Hopefully the dynamic will change.
Babajide, and you know the system is not set up for that.
No, but here's the thing.
Let's be real.
Here's the other advice I'm going to give to African voters, since we're still in the system, before we destroy it. Vote for the person who's publicly speaking against imperialism. Vote for only people who are publicly speaking against imperialism. If your person decides to do a town, what are they called? The gatherings where the community
town hall
meeting. If they come to your media outlet, ask them, what is your belief on imperialism? Should they remain in? If they don't answer, disqualified. I'm saying to you, my brothers and sisters, moving forward, do not vote for anyone who's not anti-imperialism. That should be the standard. I'm giving you basics. Like, I don't want to complicate your minds and everything.
I completely agree with you. And like I said, just to allay people's fears. I'm not here to tell your country, because everything we're discussing here tonight applies to all the 54 countries of Africa, right? We're not telling you what to do. All these things are already happening, right? But I'm telling you, because I'm out here, we know how, all these things that Taiwo Oladele is referencing, we know how it works here. We know how they use it here. We're trying to say, look, the impact is going to be very, very severe on the 97% of the informal economy in those countries. That's all we're saying. And, noting that the tax reform process should be phased in. I'll say it again: federal, state, existing banking, oil sector. Once it's harmonized across those sectors, then you start bringing, the different how would I put it now? The different aspects of that, 70 million labor force into the tax net. That's how it has to happen, and that's how it will work best. Yeah. Okay. Moving on. So, yeah. So, I think I'll skip this.
Brother, we have Nigerians who are feeling that they have not been served because they came here to hear about the Naira.
Yeah, they came here. Don't worry. We're here now.
Okay, thank you.
We're here now. Okay. So we're here now. I hope that I have been able to give you or give my our audience enough of a preamble into why the inefficiencies are very, very important. Okay, so it touched on currency, it touched on the GDP, it touched on the devaluation of the naira, devaluation of the currencies. There's so many interwoven metrics that interplay within the economic dynamics. That's why they're very, very important. But this slide, obviously, is the one that matters the most, which is, which lists, the actual inefficiencies within the system. Can you see it properly?
What
Nduku?
year? What year is this? Just a little larger, please.
Okay, so
But what year is this, and what was the GDP this year?
oh, no. So this is my own estimate for this presentation. Yeah, but the GDP that I have used, sorry,
You're estimating what is
oh,
required.
sorry, the GDP that I've used to do this calculation, sorry, is the 2024 GDP, 108 there, 188 billion GDP 2024. So it's the same slide that we used the last time. Yeah, same metrics.
And these figures, the next slide, the figures you have there is what you think is needed for those sectors to function well.
No,
Okay.
that's the impact. So these figures here, are the inefficiencies within the system as a percentage of GDP.
Thank you.
So if a road is bad, so if we take infrastructure deficiencies 6 to 8%, if a road is bad, it means that road is costing you, or costing the economy rather, 6 to 8% of GDP that year. So the fact that the users of the road can't get to work on time, the cars drive on it, they're continually going to the mechanic repair shop, all the negative impacts of using that road it amounts to 6 to 8% of the total GDP generated for that country that year. That's what
So
those figures are.
these are the expenses we were talking about that are taken out of GDP to give you your reserve.
And no. It's
Okay.
it's an estimate. So let's go back here. So you see this 188 billion GDP, right? That's the total GDP for Nigeria for 2024, right? So if you just note that down. Now we go back to the previous slide. The first bullet point there, infrastructure deficiencies. I am saying that the fact that the roads are bad, you don't have good hospitals, you don't have a good water system, no electricity, it is taking out 6.6 to 8% of GDP. So that 188 billion, if you do 6 to 8% of that, so even though Nigeria is making that 188 billion, it's not actually 188 billion when you factor all this in, because there's been a lot of impact on so many aspects of the economy for the citizens. That's what that means. You're going from point A to B. You're meant to get you leave at 9 o'clock. You're meant to get there for 10. You get there 4 hours later.
The cost of production.
The cost of you can look at it that
the
way.
most simplest way, the cost of production.
Simplest way, cost of production, but this time cost of inefficiency. The cost of having a bad road, the cost of having a non-functioning hospital.
But how that is going to affect your gross domestic product.
Yes.
Thank you. So the cost, that's why I'm calling it the cost of production.
Yes.
But go on.
Yes. So I've looked at the various sectors. Yeah, you have, I mean, what's the cost of insecurity? People can't go to the farm. So look at that alone. So this is it. This is a very good example. So you have people have been going to the farms for, many, many years. So let's say all those farms collectively, yeah, generate $100 billion in GDP. Yeah. And all of a sudden, insecurity comes in, and all those same farmers can't go to the farm anymore. What's the loss there? Do you get it, Nduku?
I'm trying not to interrupt you, because yes, I get it, my brother. And this is why I say defense is priority.
Yes.
Defense. You cannot produce
Yes.
if you're faced with an enemy who attacks you, if you do not have a way to attack them when they come.
Yes. So it's very, very key. So the same way we've looked at defense is the same way we look at power. If you don't have power, right? Let's say if the whole of Nigeria had electricity, and that increases the GDP to say 500 billion, right? Just imagine that. Then all of a sudden you take the electricity away, it reduces the 500 billion to 100 billion. That means the costs to the economy is 400 billion.
And that's another IMF conditionality, taking the electricity away.
Well, I don't know how they.
No, it is. I'm not even kidding,
bro. Everything is linked, bro.
No,
we're not where we are for the sake of being there. Everything is linked. Everything is linked. We need to look at the whole package holistically. Everything, because how can we, as a nation, not have those things in place in 2025?
Yeah.
Why?
It's crazy, and it's not just. It
makes no sense.
As you
and
know,
do us a favor, and next data, please collect on. Let's do a session where you've collected data on the IMF, the World Bank, how they operate. What are the pros and what are the cons? Please.
Yeah, I already have that data. And
bro, me and you are. I'm nearly 60, bro.
Yes.
And the issues I faced when I was in Nigeria.
Yes.
Was my dad 40 years ago, before he passed away. We had a generator 40 years ago.
Yeah.
40 years ago.
Yeah.
So you can't tell me that in 2025 we still have the same problem. Now generators have become a better person, my neighbor, where everybody's aspiring to have a generator.
So how much do you think the cost of that is to the economy?
It's huge.
It's huge. So
it's huge.
That's what I'm saying, that these costs, I've only done an estimate. And if you look at if we go back to the title, I've said in the title, what did I put there? 100 trillion. My brother and sister, it's more than that.
I'm certain, which is why I laugh.
I mean, you can even say, what, 900 trillion naira. It's more than that.
Which is why, brother, I laugh when we talk about Africa owes debt to the West. That's why I laugh.
We don't owe them nothing.
Because when we sit down and do the books in a nice, equitable way, the West will owe us so much money they don't even know what to do.
Okay, so let me tell you this, how this whole thing we're talking about now, how it started. Okay, so in 1946, obviously, Europe went into reconstruction. Yeah, after the World War, they went into reconstruction. So, and I'll use British West Africa as the example, because that's the data that I'm currently, working on. So British West Africa comprised Nigeria, Ghana, Sierra Leone, and I think Gambia. They were the colonies of Britain. And they will collect all the goods from these colonies and take them to, export them to the UK. Then from the UK, they get sold to wherever. But what I started noticing in the data is that almost every year, so imagine that you say, okay, this year we produced, let's say, 100 billion, just for simplicity, 100 billion of goods of goods, because we're talking about groundnuts, tin, palm oil, all that. We've shipped that out, and what are we expecting? We're expecting 100 billion back, right? Then all of a sudden, they come up and say, oh yeah, global commodity prices are depressed, etc., etc. and what comes back? Maybe between 60 and 70 billion. Who keeps the rest? Yeah. Plus, that 70 billion did not come back to Nigeria.
I was about to say.
It was in it's this is out there.
Wow.
It's in public papers. Yeah. The 70 billion that Nigeria made, yeah, between, or should I say because I want to span it across between 1946 and 1963 independence period. Yeah. All the monies that Nigeria made as a colony were stored in the British Bank of England.
And considered Commonwealth.
Yes, Commonwealth. But guess what happened? Because they had to reconstruct, this is fact I'm giving you, because they had to reconstruct after the war, Nigeria did not get anything in terms of infrastructure development.
But why should they? British is in need and it's Commonwealth. So it's
Yeah.
only logic that this Commonwealth can be used to help British rebuild.
Yeah. And
This is why we have the imperialists, my brother.
Yeah.
That's why they came. So they're doing exactly what it says on the tin.
Yeah. So I mean, these revelations to me were quite shocking, to be honest. When I did
My brother, when it comes to Muzungu,
Yeah.
I've stopped being shocked. I've stopped being shocked because you need to know your enemies, and when you know who your enemies are, nothing shocks you no more.
But he's right, and it's good we say that for our brothers and sisters who haven't yet realized.
Yeah.
The first time you discover you're shocked, you're pissed, you're embarrassed by yourself being such a fool for not knowing, there's all kinds of emotions, and it's okay. But wake up and become a warrior right after that.
Yeah. And the other thing is that you then begin to understand the likes of Awolowo. So these are the statesmen that fought for the liberation, fought for independence. You begin to understand the mindset, okay, where Awolowo in 1957, I think 57, 58, there was the conference in England, and it's out there. He said, no, we want complete independence. We don't want any holding my tail like France did, etc. Because I think that was going to be the agenda round about that time. But Awolowo, Amadu Bello, Zik, they said no, we're not having it, and they were able to get that full independence. But during the research, I also found out that between 1960, I'm not sure a lot of people know this, between 1960 and 1963. Did you know that the Queen of England was the head of state of Nigeria?
Yeah, of course she was.
It was not full independence.
We never had it.
Ever.
We never had it.
Yeah, she was the head of state, for those 3 years until, we now gained.
That came with conditionalities as well.
Sorry?
That came with conditionalities as well. Because even Nkrumah writes in Ghana, they're trying to write a new constitution. Britain is in the midst of it. And they say, no, you cannot get independence until you word this way. Same thing in Kenya.
Okay. Yeah.
The Muzungu never lets go. They have to be on both sides.
Yeah.
They have to play both sides. And this is how they play the game. This is basically what Africans do not get. Yeah. They always play both sides.
Yes. And for some silent reason, that is still what is happening today. So when independence came, guess who replaced or guess what replaced the colonial masters, for want of a better word?
Us, because we became gatekeepers.
No, the
gatekeepers, yes, but in actual physical terms, it was the
financial.
Because what happened? Okay, so what used to happen was, like I said, the reserves were stored in the British reserves, right?
Okay.
They would then loan the money back to Nigeria.
Imagine that. They loan you your own money.
Yeah. So if you needed anything, you got loaned.
Hey.
Okay. I don't know what those terms were, but you got loaned.
Brother,
so what I'm saying
describing is a parent and a child.
Yeah. So what I'm saying is, who's doing that now?
The IMF,
the World Bank.
Exactly. So there you go.
It is our money that we are loaned and being charged for and that we are repaying. How damn are we, and when are we going to wake up?
And
we
that's
are
my
basically,
surprise.
we are sorry, GJ. So basically, we're basically repaying extortionate fees
Yep.
for the money that's ours
Yeah.
in a local currency that's been devalued as well.
Yes. Yes. Which is why I'm
Wow.
saying you can't borrow in dollars, yeah, to build in naira, then pay back in dollars. It's impossible. I mean, look
Wow.
at the charts I
Imagine
just showed you.
that.
Wow.
Your
Wow.
currency is in
Wow. Wow.
perpetual decline.
Wow.
Like I said, what I shared with you this evening, it's a subject for another topic. The actual currency, the African currencies are in perpetual decline, all of them,
Of course there will
and that
be,
So
because
and that makes
obvious.
you're
look.
describing crime. You're describing crime using their own
Listen,
terms. You're describing crime.
from an economic, even their own economics, yeah, as in Adam Smith's economics. When you look at those charts, it doesn't make sense.
It's criminal. It's fraud.
It
I'm
doesn't make
listening to
sense.
you, Jide. I'm listening to you now, and I'm getting angry. I'm really, really,
Yes.
really. I'm pissed off, man.
As an African, if you're not angry, I question you.
I'm
Why are
really
you not
pissed off.
angry?
Knowing what I know
Yeah,
and saying what I'm saying, and you to bring it home the way you've done just now,
yeah.
I feel emotional
So,
listening to this.
can you imagine? So, can you imagine how I would have felt looking at the data? Looking
Alone,
at
by
the data.
yourself. Next time, give us a call so that you can take a breath. Eh?
So look, this thing is so crazy that when I think it was the ECOWAS, right? They wanted to do the ECO, and till today that hasn't taken off. My data set showed me why it hasn't taken off.
And brother, could you please share why?
Yeah, please share why.
So I feel, this is my own theory, right? I feel if the ECOWAS is allowed to harmonize their currencies, it's going to have a very, very negative impact on the trade relationships with the global north. That's the truth, and that's why it has been forever on the table.
So in
Okay, now,
actuality,
yeah. So let me yeah.
Western economy is dependent on African economy.
Yes, and the
Our
data,
resources, essentially.
and you can see it in the data. This is why I love, this is why I love data, right? Because it doesn't lie. It does not lie. It just needs someone who really wants to look at it and say, hey, hang on a minute, this thing is not making sense. So let me share something with you, right? So the Nigerian naira, as you could see there, between 1960 and 1985 was very, very strong. But guess what was happening to the European currencies? I remember personally when in the 80s, early 80s, my parents' generation, do you know where they used to go? I'm sure some people listening to this would relate. There used to be a big thing about Nigerians going to Milan. Yeah? Because the naira was stronger than the Italian lira in the 80s. They will go. They were always on Alitalia flights to Iran. Iran, to Italy, Milan rather, in Italy, to buy bags, shoes, you name it. Yeah. Now it got to a point where they realized that the currencies. So this is me drawing my inference from the figures, from the numbers, that they must have realized that these currencies are not doing too well. We have to form a common currency. Yeah. So they went ahead 1999. So between 1999 and 2003, they did the unitary currency, and guess what? All of a sudden, the lira that wasn't strong against the naira, yeah, guess what? Became stronger against the naira overnight because Italy joined the euro, because all these other countries joined the euro. I mean, how does that work? How does that work? And you can see when all the activity happened, yeah, from the charts, when the currencies changed, when all these countries joined the euro, you can just see that change from red. So their currencies were in red, as in devalued. All of a sudden, since 19, some of them since 1999, some of them since 2003, have never been in the red, obviously, because they've joined the euro, and the euro is now, one of the strongest currencies in the world. How does that happen?
Brother,
And
let me
that's why the echo cannot happen, because if we did the echo, a similar thing is going to happen. All of a sudden, it becomes, one echo to 1 euro. So that means, however we do the back end calculations, if I have maybe 100,000 echo, I can just fly into France and buy 10 houses or 2 houses or whatever. Nobody's going to like that.
my brother, back in the day, I
Mm.
could have said the white man is racist because they called us inferior, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Today, they are justified to call us inferior and stupid because we are truly expressing inferiority and stupidity in what you're describing. No, I'm not even
Yes.
kidding.
Yeah.
We have ourselves have become the proof. We have become the reality of stupidity.
Yeah.
And I wouldn't be surprised if in their rooms as they smoke, we shouldn't care about this, but maybe we should because it will have us thinking differently. They're celebrating, saying, "This damn Africans are stupid."
Oh yeah.
Of course, of
I
course.
feel that personally. I feel that all the time,
Yeah,
because, and you know why? Because, you go into a room with someone, this person has one up over you, and you can't see it. I mean, how else is he going to look at you?
No, you have 500% up on him and you can't see it.
You
And they're
can't see it.
seeing
Yeah.
it as if
Yeah.
they have one up on you.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
what you're
Yeah.
seeing.
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly right. So it's quite painful. That's why, I see these posts of, the Minister of Finance, with the World Bank. We just had this meeting with the World Bank, we've just done this, we've just done that. Okay. And I'm thinking, again, World
yeah,
Bank,
bro.
why?
They keep coming. They keep coming to Nigeria. A few months ago, I saw them. They had a conference. I saw, like I don't watch TV, but every so often when I watch them, I could see them keep coming.
Yeah.
Like I said, guys, these guys have an office in our ministry.
Yes.
They've been monitoring everything we
Yes.
do.
Yes.
There's conditionalities, and you guys, Nigerians, I know you Nigerians are watching this. You keep going PDP, APC, and you keep fighting each other,
Yeah.
not realizing that your government officials are complicit to what's happening to you. They are part of the problem because they're in the pockets of these people. They get crumbs
Yeah.
at your own detriment.
Yeah.
And you can see the pattern of their travel, by the way. Usually, right after elections, there's a meeting. Like there's a pattern.
Yeah,
Observe the pattern.
the playbook is so predictable.
just
But
like
some people don't say it.
yeah, just like in the data, there's a pattern. Yeah, you
Please,
just need
brother.
to be able to know how to put the data together to see the pattern. And when the pattern showed up to me, it was very disappointing.
Wow,
Very,
wow,
very
wow,
disappointing.
wow.
And let me tell you what I also concluded. I concluded that between 1946 and 1960, the Western governments, yeah, would have had some very, very smart statisticians. I'm telling you, smart statisticians, right? That were doing these calculations, because there's something we do in mathematics where you've got variables and you've got constants. Okay, so you have a constant that you keep, that you have in there, then a variable that you move. So when you move that variable, you know what the outcome is going to be. That is exactly how we've been, for want of a better word again, managed since 1946. Yeah,
Screwed over.
yeah. And specifically between 1960 and 1985, when Nigeria devalued its currency, I then also think that the IMF and the World Bank would have done some serious calculations, such as to know the outcome, because you cannot have the same outcome for all countries. I just showed you the chart. There's no anomaly. There's no like, oh, Congo is up. And no, there's a trend. All the African countries are on they're on the same trajectory.
Yeah, it's basically
that's not an accident. That's by design.
It's not coincidence. It's not coincidence. Bro, we need to be running up now because we're coming up to 2 hours, bro. So yeah.
Yeah. So so going back to the inefficiencies, like we talked about the last time, you know, we got you know, using the GDP figures for 2024, 188 billion dollars, which equates to 278 trillion naira. Yeah, at the exchange rate, 2024 exchange rate of 1479. And that gives us a reduced GDP per capita of $839. Now, this is the $839 that you know, the federal government wants to now tax, assuming that this $839 is going to or is applied to the 70 million workforce across Nigeria. How much do you want to tax from here?
But even when they tax, that taxation is going back to repay the loan. It doesn't even go into Nigeria.
No. But some, you know, I think Taiwo Ojedele in one of his recent videos or interviews was trying to say, oh yeah, you know, we need to generate, you know, the tax, you know, to include that in our revenue. Well, I don't think it's gonna go towards revenue. Really. I mean, it happens in the UK as well. They collect these taxes. I mean, road tax and all. They don't use it for roads. It goes into the big pots for
military,
so many other things. Yes, you know. So, I mean, my estimate there of 23 to 30% of GDP, the total inefficiencies across the system, and that is, you know, across, you know, industrial, you know, the various industrial and energy constraints, the governance, the fact that, you know, you want to collect a driver's license, it's not as straightforward. I mean, I know the passport system is improving, you know, it's still not as straightforward. You've got to still travel. Then there's this thing that they introduced with the passport now, where you got to go to your local village, your local council.
So you have to go to your local government to prove indigenousship.
Yeah, I mean, to prove I mean, who does that? So I've got to fly. If I'm in the UK, I've got to go to my village to get a piece of paper. Yes.
Who does that? The colonialist does that. They do that in Australia. They used to do that in the US. They still do that to the indigenous people. That is a requirement. They have to show that they're indigenous. The colonialist does that.
So that's probably why our Minister of Interior has picked that up as well.
Yeah, because his white master told him, get these people to prove. Come on now, y'all.
Anyway, that's just one of them. Yeah. Then, you know, I touched on low broadband penetration. I mean, that's very, very expensive at the moment. The Minister of Digital, sorry.
Wait, is this the Tayo you all keep talking about?
No. His name is Taiwo Ojedele. Tayo Ojedele. So no, it's two different people.
No, Taiwo Ojedele. Yeah, the Minister for Digital for Nigeria has promised that you know, broadband penetration is going to increase during his time. I mean, he's gone a little bit quiet in the last few months. I'm sure he's probably.
But they always do, bro, because Massa does not allow them to do these things. Infrastructural development basically means power in the hands of the people.
Yeah. So I mean, it's going to 2 years. Is it 2 years? 23, 24. Yeah, it's over 2 years now. Midterm for the president, and we haven't really seen, you know, that many changes. I mean, look at the impact the insecurity is having on the nation. Yeah, we can all feel it, right?
Everybody. Tope Fasua's here, guys.
Okay, fantastic.
I'm just gonna bring him on.
Fantastic.
Hello, Tope.
Hi, good evening, David. So sorry. I tried to join. I had only 9% on my phone. I was in traffic in Lagos. The moment I joined, it just went down to 0 and, you know, threw me off and the phone went off. So I'm only
Yeah.
just getting to my location and quickly charging the phone. So yeah, so I'm sorry about that. I hope we can still have a short discussion.
Yeah, no, we more than welcome. Thanks for joining us, my brother. Thank you. Okay, I don't know if you've been following what we've been talking about. We're talking about, obviously,
Oh,
it's dropped out again.
What's the cost of that, brother?
exactly. That's exactly
What's
what I
the
was
cost
going to
of
say.
that on the GDP of Nigeria?
So the cost. So think about it. So he said he was in traffic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
Okay, all
And
right, it's
he,
coming back. Give me a second.
yeah.
I'll just bring him back.
So all that is a cost.
but please break it down before he speaks. Go on. What's the cost
Yeah.
of what just happened?
Okay. You're back.
Yeah, you
Okay.
were saying something. Yeah, I went off briefly. I don't know.
We,
You
we
were
were
saying something.
Yeah.
including the cost of you getting here in traffic, not being able to connect in this whole scenario, because apparently it does affect your GDP in Nigeria.
that's
See?
We are
that's
talking
very
about
Interesting.
interesting. Yes, because
inefficiencies.
yeah, the cost of being in traffic, the cost of not having enough power to charge our batteries. I mean, you've just talked about it as you came on. Anyway, good to have you on.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Okay, what about you, Dace?
Yeah,
Do you wanna lead on this one?
yeah. I think one of the first things questions I probably want to. I mean, based on the discussion we've had so far, one of the questions that I'll probably throw to Tope is probably around the inefficiencies within the system, and we've seen insecurity, and I've heard you talk about it, during Buhari's era, the implications of these issues that we're currently facing. I mean, if you can just shed more light on, you can see the screen that I'm sharing there. I've got infrastructure deficiencies, fiscal and tax inefficiencies, industrial.
Oh, it's dropped off again. Yeah.
This is
He's
becoming an
but
expensive
but you see,
conversation on
this is
Nigeria.
a cost.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is a cost.
That's
Guys,
the
this
government
I'm gonna
official
say
who
this,
cannot
guys.
be in a meeting.
Okay, it's back. Hold on, let's
I
add him
tell
back.
you.
Right, it's like someone can't toggle off this screen when you're on it. You can't toggle off and back. Anyway, so to reply some WhatsApp text that I had before.
Okay.
So yeah, you were talking about inefficiency and so on.
Yes.
Yeah.
So I just wanted you to shed more light on how, with the tax reforms that your administration would be implementing come January 1st, how you're going to make sure that the impact on the 97% informal economy is not going to be too hard, considering what the country is going through at the moment, i.e., insecurity, no power, everybody's running their own generators, there's no water, everybody's drilling their own boreholes, roads are, you know, bad, you know, you've just come through traffic, all those various inefficiencies that impact our daily lives. There was a video I was watching the other day. A gentleman went to a hospital, I think in Abuja, and uh, because he didn't have 5,000 naira or something, or it may have been more than that. I won't quote the figures. His child died. Circulating online, I mean, things, inefficiencies like that. How is the government going to make sure that the common man is not going to feel this tax reform?
Well, in the first place, what I probably will say is that you reeled out a laundry list of inefficiencies, but remember that there's no society or economy that doesn't have its own challenges. We're not excusing some of those things. I also think that as an African country, Nigeria, we have our own issues, plenty of them, but also remember that development is a work in progress. Some of us have lived abroad before. We also know how things work out there. Even so, I would probably say that I would want to appeal that when we're talking about countries like Nigeria, we try not to rain down on the country bricks. We list all of those things and we don't list anything on the asset side, it seems like the country is Armageddon itself. If you talk about traffic, there's traffic in every big city in the world. I mean, get into New York traffic or Tokyo or China, even Dubai that I've been several times, you run into all those traffic. So it's not a big deal. It's just, indeed, you could even say beyond, I mean, it's actually because of road works. That's why there was this traffic today. And I'm talking of, it took me about 40 minutes to get over about 70 kilometers. It's not like too bad, And so anyway, then of course, one thing I would also want to say, which I've been working on, is that our development trajectory will have to follow a different route from the orthodox. In which case, just like about 25 years ago, when we went into GSM, the telephony. Before then, we had just about 400,000 landline telephone lines in Nigeria. And of course, this new technology was fairly new technology all around the world. But we know that we as a people, oftentimes, we don't actually get involved in the putting together of this technology. Many of them come from military backgrounds when they finish
Tope,
using them.
Your hand is covering the phone, Tope.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay, I see. All right. So it's after they've perfected.
You're still doing that?
He may need to.
My hand is covering the phone.
It's okay.
Yeah.
We need to
It's covering the camera. It's covering the camera.
Am I still covering the camera?
Yeah, your hand is still there.
Your finger is covering the camera.
That's better.
Yes, that's better. Okay. And there's the lights in your
Where's
background.
The camera?
Yeah, that's better.
My background. Oh, my background is there's a light up there, Actually, I'm charging the phone, so I'm holding anyhow. So our development trajectory will have to take another route. I was talking about GSM and how we moved from 400,000 landlines, which are so difficult and expensive to get, to 200 million, 250 million different phone lines, all mobile. And we kind of skipped that. It was a problem at some point. I remember when PayPal would not come tonight and would not have anything to do with Nigerians because they couldn't verify any address in terms of landline.
This is the inefficiencies that we're talking about, man.
That's it.
Yeah, people were, but somehow everybody has been able to get around that now.
Go on.
That we should meet in chance for 8 or 8:30. I mean, please let me call him, man, so that he stops calling the number in which I'm from. Okay, sorry, gentlemen. Someone called me on the same mobile phone. Anyhow, so I hope you can hear me.
Yeah, I can hear you now. Yeah.
Right. So essentially speaking, that we moved to that, and of course, Vodafone commissioned one of the big four consulting firms to help them look at the prospects of getting into the telephony business in Nigeria through GSM. And the reply was that no, the people were too poor, and that it wasn't going to be a profitable business. Therefore, it took Econet coming from Zimbabwe and the MTN from South Africa to come into this country. And as I speak, MTN makes about 40% of its global profit from Nigeria, which, if you look at that data, and this is genuine data coming from private sector, it shows that perhaps Nigerians are not as totally poor and dying the way people have been saying, and the way some of the data out there is saying. I mean, for people to be able to actually have money to phone, means that they're not actually dying of hunger anyhow. But of course, I know that people prefer the sensational data. That said, so essentially speaking, we have all of these inefficiencies in Nigeria, but we are still plodding along, and we're going to be able to get some point regarding the taxes, the tax reforms that have been done and that are hopefully coming up 1st of January 2026. In fact, the reforms are pro-poor, and I've seen it said somewhere where Taiwo Oladele, the head of the committee, went to give a sort of a paper somewhere, and The private sector guys there, they criticized him and said it was a socialist. Because actually, and I'm also a member of that committee. The whole idea of that committee was to say that perhaps that same 90 something percent of the taxpayers, if you take that number, let's call it 70% of Nigerians would actually go tax free legitimately. But we want the data. We want to know what people are doing. We want to know what people are earning. But if indeed 70% of the country is earning less than 1 million naira per annum, then all of that wants a dime from them. That's what we're saying. And if most of the companies in Nigeria, out of the 41 million MSMEs in Nigeria, if they earn less than 4.5 million in terms of turnover every month, we don't want any taxes from them. And I think that's a good threshold to work from. Is pro-poor. It's basically saying that, look, let's not hassle people for taxes. Let's focus on people that are earning good money and try to take taxes from them. But of course, people will resist. Some people are trying to cause confusion and saying all sorts of things. Misinformation is all over the place. But usually it's people who know that they'll be impacted, because this is one country where we like to slag up the country. We like to say all sorts of things about the country. But we know that when we leave here and go abroad, we conform, because you can't live in the UK or live in the US and do it as you like. And I've been saying this, that look, Nigerians, we like to live on our own.
Can I interject there? And you know me, and yeah, we've known for a while. We're not basically criticizing the country. What we want to see in Nigeria is for Nigeria to work. And most of us who have lived abroad know exactly how the systems are. The systems are not pro people anyway. They've never been. So
which one is that? Which system?
The systems that we're copying from the imperialists has never been about pro people. It's about.
But I'm giving you a specific example. Is that daily? I'm giving you a specific example. The specific example is in if the taxes would work, the reforms would work the way we want them to work. It is actually pro people, and I said that the reform committee head has been accused of being a socialist. You can actually check it out.
I don't buy into all the narratives. But what I'm trying to say is basically, my brother, inefficiency is happening in Nigeria all over the place. If we plug those inefficiencies, start working on that first before you bring the tax reforms in. Let's fix ourselves first. We're not doing it.
So I'm actually from a logical perspective.
Once you fix it, then you can actually take the money. But you're not fixing.
I get you. I get you. But first of all, let me quickly answer Dele on that so I don't lose my train of thought. The point being that, number one is chicken and egg, which one comes first? Number two, can you actually fix all the problems at the same time? So we always fall into one fallacy.
All the time.
One second. So the point is this, like, which one are you going to do first? Which two or three are you going to be able to do? Because if you look at all of the inefficiencies that have been counted, so what I probably will want from you or whoever is talking about the inefficiency is to say, you know what, out of these 10 different inefficiencies, if we could do two or three out of them, this is the kind of result we're going to be getting. So that it doesn't just end up become a theoretical postulation and say, go and fix the power. Okay, I was telling you about the different trajectory to development, and I mentioned one of. Okay,
hold on before you get to those.
And I don't know. I will soon be gone though. I told you guys I can't spend a whole lot of time. Yeah.
Before you get to those, how exactly are the tax reforms going to help Nigerians? Please explain.
Exactly. Maybe you weren't listening the time I spoke. I said that what we've done is that the tax reforms, we said that anyone earning 1 million naira and below. Now, in pounds or in dollars, that would be a small amount of money. But in Nigeria here, because of what we call the purchasing power parity, the fact that $1 in Nigeria will go a long way, will probably do nothing for you in the US. But $1 here is 1,400, 1,450. Will buy the lowest people, the gatesman, the man on the street, will buy him a meal. You buy him a meal anywhere within Nigeria. In some places, we could even do more than that. So what we said was to say that anyone earning like 80,000 naira and below in a month would not pay taxes. But even if beyond that 80,000 naira, if your rent is about 200,000. It will also be tax-free. So you add that 80,000 times 12 and add another 200,000, and it takes you to over 1 million naira. I also said that, and that'll be tax free. So this is the first time. Before then, people earning 30,000 were taxed. It's still going to be a bit problematic because some states are fighting it because it is deductions from pay as you earn that they use as revenue in many of the states. But
I'd like to
before
chip in when
now,
you
we were taxing just about everybody. So, but now we're saying that, look, you don't have to tax these guys because what are they earning? It's basic income and basic, minimum wage. You don't tax minimum wage.
But
Number two, we
how
said
will
that
the tax? No, it's not how you're taxing. How will the tax you collect help Nigerians? Please explain. You said it's going to help them. How will it
you're
do
jumping on two different questions.
But my question is that I'm not on another question. That's the question on the table.
Oh my.
How will
Anyhow,
the
you know
tax?
what?
How
I
will?
told Dele about
so,
these things, I
so
don't.
let me
I'm
quickly
not the
ask.
government. I'm just an advisor, and
Exactly. But
in
I'm
fact,
asking
when
you
I
a
looked at
legitimate
the
question.
when I looked at the theme of your event, I told Dele, I said, look, it's as if you guys had made up your mind what you want to,
No, no,
what
no, no,
you
no,
pay
no,
people.
no, no, no,
So
no.
I'm
So
saying that, look, let me then land, please. Number one,
yeah.
you asked me a question specifically, how is this tax reform going to help the people? I've told you about how it's going to help the smallest people through pay as you earn, and I'm telling you that we are saying that you don't tax minimum wage people for the first time, and we
Can
moved
I?
up the threshold. And
I think I.
secondly, for businesses, for small businesses, because Nigeria is actually run on small businesses, there will have millions of them here, but we're saying also that if your turnover is 50 million naira and below, meaning per annum, meaning 4.5 or thereabout million per month, you're also tax free. You won't even pay VAT. And so from those two perspectives, there's a whole chunk of people that have been taken out of the tax net.
Okay.
That's the
Can I
thing.
add?
So
Can I add to
yeah,
what you've said? Because I was listening very very patiently. I wanted you to finish so that we can approach this in a systematic way. So the this particular topic is not a target, or should I say, it's not. We're not trying to sort of target your government. No, that's not what this is about. This is about the people. Okay, you said
Targeting the
you said
issue.
you want to bring some people into the tax net. You talked about
no,
80,000. Hold on,
that's
you
at the
talked about.
top. That's the top echelon. At
Yeah,
the
yeah.
lower, we're taking people out of the tax net at the lower end, and that's
Yes,
where
you are
most of the
taking them
people are.
out, but hold on, you are taking them out, but you want to bring them in to take them out, i.e., they must register so you know who they
Yes,
are. Now, what
yes.
is the overhead of doing that to those people? These poor
The
people
overhead,
that
no,
you
no,
want
no.
to
It's
you
cost free.
it's cost free.
Absolutely cost free.
It's cost free. So all they need to do is collect a tax ID, go and open a bank account,
Yes, if
etc., etc.
they don't even have to open any account. So the point is that make sure you are registered, okay, and file your tax. Most of this will be done using your phone. You don't even have to go to an office to fill a form. Just say, okay, you know what, my tax is nil. I've earned 20,000 every month. It's not even up to minimum wage, but look, this is my situation. And not this is because again, data is key. Everybody is looking for data, and the country has to begin to get data. Otherwise, you're going to be forming policies in a vacuum, and you don't know what you're doing. You're just assuming that this is what the
Okay, but
situation
what
is.
about phasing that in? Okay, so already you captured the banking sector, you've captured the federal government workers, you've captured the state government workers. Can you not phase it in such that the entire tax system, whether some people are paying tax or they're not paying tax, you phase them in, because the impact that I have seen, that I have measured, is going to be very, very severe on the 97% informal economy in particular.
No, no. How? Why? How?
It's gonna be because all, I mean, a lot of them at the moment, the ones that are running their own businesses, for instance, like you've mentioned, yeah, they are generating their own power, yeah, they are generating their own water, they are making a lot of sacrifices that the government is not paying for. At the end of the day, yeah, from that same money that they've probably earned, that may be entitled to pay tax, they may be entitled to pay tax on, you still expect them to pay tax on that, won't you?
No, no,
Despite the
no. You
fact
don't
that
understand what I've said. Okay, let me put it this way: 41 million businesses are registered captured by the SMED, and not all of them are registered properly. The number of registered companies in Nigeria, including business name, is about 7-8 million. But we're saying that 41 million people are doing businesses formally and informally, with 99% of them being nano and micro businesses. Now, those nano and micro businesses are people who are just struggling. Why? Because Nigeria's economy, like Dele said, is really unstructured. And we understand that. It's unstructured. It's not like the UK economy where, look, I've done business in the UK. I know what it means to set up a business. The first thing you get the moment you manage to open an account is a letter from Her Majesty or His Majesty's Tax, Revenue and Customs, warning you of the consequences of dodging taxes.
Yeah.
And of course, you have to do your NI and all of that. I had staff in the UK that I was paying and also for more than up to 10 years. I know what it takes in the UK. But here, what we're trying to say is to say that, look, we also want to be able to formalize. So out of those 41 million, let's assume that indeed, as it is said now, that most of them are just really struggling, trying to get by, doing one or two things to just make a little profit. Most of those people were saying that they are not supposed to pay any tax. So I'm just saying this. I think I'm having to give you information that you did not know before. And I think you didn't actually pay mind today's because of the narrative and the rhetoric about town, believing that the government is bad, they just want to help people and all of that. And I think it's wrong. So I'm giving you this. I'm giving you this information now. If you didn't know before, 50 million turnover and below for businesses is tax-free in Nigeria from January 1st, 2026. And anyone earning #1 million per annum and below are going tax-free. That's also. So I think that we're being really proper.
No. So what you need to understand, is that we're not sort of anti-tax. What this topic is about really is that the how would I put it? The inefficiencies like, for example, the 117 million that apparently was missing in the NMPC. Nigeria should be taking care of those monies first before they even introduce a tax system. I mean, look at Dubai. How many of the Dubai or UAE citizens pay tax?
They don't pay tax at all.
How many of they don't pay tax at all?
They pay now. I have a business in the UAE. I still have a business in the UAE. They brought in taxes now since 2017.
International businesses pay tax, but it's still a low tax.
No. Local businesses also pay. So what they've done, VAT is 5%, and they've also brought in 9% company income taxes. For your turnover, if your turnover is more than 375,000 dirhams per annum, and of course everybody must register and do their taxes, whether or not
the citizens don't pay tax.
Yes, but how many? What's the level of inefficiencies within the system? Yeah, the Nigerian system is too inefficient.
But there are inefficiencies everywhere. I don't know your name though, but I'm saying that there are inefficiencies everywhere. Please you cannot define. I'm afraid I wouldn't want you to define Nigeria by its inefficiencies.
No.
Our past must not define our future. Every people should wake up every day with a view to doing better on their inefficiencies. And therefore, the whole idea is that inefficiency itself is not a destination, it's a journey. Let's make it better every day. And therefore, let's not define ourselves by inefficiency.
It's not focusing on your government. Like I said before you joined the call, whether it's Buhari's government or Obasanjo or whoever, it will be very, very difficult to implement, or I would say the same thing if they were going to implement the same tax reform, because majority of the population, like I said, 97% is still informal. You need to make sure that, as a country, you need to make sure that the country is set up well enough such that you reduce the level of inefficiencies from where it is today to where citizens of the country can go before you introduce.
So if I say that, which of the inefficiencies do you think we should tackle first? If you had three out of 20 inefficiencies, and there are inefficiencies everywhere, you probably live in the UK. I could reel out 10 different inefficiencies
I live in the UK. You've lived in the UK before.
I want to say, brother Babajide,
Yes.
One, inefficiency, security. In the UK,
It's
they
all
don't
Yes.
have
nothing.
people attacking. No, hold on. They
Oh,
don't have
probably
people
okay.
attacking. Hold on,
Se-
brother. You asked which inefficiency we want to pick.
yes.
I'm
I was
picking
going to say
security.
security,
In
healthcare.
the UK, they don't have terrorists attacking the farmers, that the farmers cannot go and plant their
Oh,
crops. So
there
how are
you're
you
moving to an
dealing? How are
international
you dealing?
perspective
How are you
that
dealing?
a
So
lot of the we
you're
didn't
the
invite this
one,
thing to ourselves.
you're the
When
one who
Gaddafi was
brought up
toppled,
the youth
in 2011, they
all I'm
opened
hearing
up
is
that and the
excuses, my
US
dear.
toppled Gaddafi, including the UK and France. They
Yes.
toppled Gaddafi, they murdered him on the streets, they
You
sodomized
should
him on
have
the
joined
street,
if you had joined the
and that
call
opened
earlier.
up.
You're
If
the
you had
Sorry?
one
joined
who
the call
brought up the
earlier,
UK.
we'd already touched on this. If you had joined
Yeah,
the call
so
earlier,
we see it's
you
exactly that tells you how vulnerable a country like ours is. We're sitting on our own, trying to solve our problems, and this thing happened. And before you know it, we had the kind of weapons we had never seen before flowing into this country, and we went into international terrorism. We had never gone into such a thing before. Look,
yeah,
Alpha.
So how
You
is
know, so
Nigeria
we
planning
didn't
to
have this kind
get
of
to
problem
inefficient?
before. So
yeah.
you see, we're trying to clamber out of it. You can't heap it on us, honestly
So are
speaking. Do
you
you
going
think
to
we like
are you
it?
going to
We don't
still
like it, you know.
are you
No,
still going
So
to
bro, we're
carry
please, and
on?
that's what
Nigerian.
I'm saying. Don't
We're
make up your
Nigerian.
mind. If
So
I
We
are
went.
had
you going
time, if I had more time, I probably would have been able to really take you guys on some of these things, but I
Yeah,
don't,
great, because
honestly.
we
And
wanted that.
it
I
is
actually
what it
wanted
is.
that.
Dele knows a lot about these things I'm saying. Some
I
of us who
respect
are in
that.
government, we also are very aware of it. The terrorism you are blaming us for is not our doing. We don't
no.
listen. We
We
like
didn't
life in
blame you. We
Nigeria,
are
Okay,
but
asking how they.
that tells you that
Tope,
Hold on
if
one
there's
Tope,
instant,
if there's
Babajide. Hold
it
on.
tells you that
Tope,
if maybe
can you
Nigeria was about to
One,
make a
can
progress
you
and
listen?
one
somebody
at
Can you
a
cooks
listen?
time.
up this thing, yeah,
Listen to me for 1 second. Just 1 second.
I'm
Just give me
listening.
1 second. Yeah. I need you to disabuse your mind about the fact that we're attacking your government, the government. We're not attacking the government. We're not attacking the tax reform either. The tax reform is good, but what we're saying is the implementation should be phased because of the inefficiencies. I know the impact it's
Okay,
going to
which
have on
how would you
my
want
own
us to face
on
it?
sorry. You phase it. I've just explained to you. Phase it. Start
How?
with government workers. Start with federal government, state. From state, the bankers are already being
Okay,
taxed. Like you
you know what
mentioned,
happens when
41 million.
so usually what happens when people talk of phasing
Yeah.
is
What? Tell
that
me what
some
happened.
when you in a country like Nigeria, realize that every time you say face something, it never gets done. If you want to
Nah,
do
nah, nah.
something, do it once
Nah. I
and
don't.
tidy up after yourselves. So essentially, there's nothing to even face in the taxes. If you say we want 70% of people to not pay taxes anymore, it's something I would do immediately. Let them not pay taxes anymore immediately. So there's nothing like, 20% of people will not pay taxes anymore this year, then another 30% next
Then
year. No, come
then
on. Do
then
what you have
after.
to do.
So you implement. Then you start surveilling their bank accounts to see whether or how would I put it? They're paying the right
But you know
taxes.
that's the way it
Correct.
is everywhere.
It's well.
The
It's that's not.
surveillance is there.
So
It's it,
In the US, for
Tope,
example,
it's coming.
everybody
It's
does
coming,
tax
Tope, but it's
it's
not
filing.
a good
coming.
thing.
It wasn't like that
It's
before.
spying
Sorry?
into
It's
people's
coming.
accounts. It's not a good thing. It's not a
I
good
don't
thing.
know. No, I don't know about spying into people's account,
But that's what they're doing.
but when you're given self filing, when you're allowed to file yourself, there's a way the government also ensures that you're not giving them the wrong numbers. So that's the thing. However, it is done legitimately is also what we will do. Because again, I mean, it's just about
But,
accounting.
but,
One
but
way
yeah,
or
but
the
that
other, you'll see that somebody is not giving you
boils
the
down
right
to digital
numbers.
tax surveillance. That means you're going into my account to check, whether what I've submitted is correct, whether with or
It
without
won't
my
be done like that.
authorization. It's still it's still,
How is it done in the UK where you do self filing?
all this is new. Yes, in the last
You
few
don't
weeks,
understand. It is also done in the UK. I did my
no.
company filed
No, it's
taxes.
not.
I filed taxes for myself. I've filed taxes for my staff in the UK.
Yes,
And
but it's
but from time to time, you know what they do? At least I
yes,
remember that. What they
yeah,
do is sometimes they choose some companies and they do an audit on you.
yes, of
Okay.
course.
And they come in. And so in the same vein,
But they can't
so
go into your account without
no, they can't.
the
No, they can't.
judiciary.
We don't
Without the
have to do that.
judiciary.
We're not doing that. But you know what we do? There's something
What?
called anti-money laundering and countering CFT, AML CFT.
Everybody does
So
that.
for
Everybody
somebody
does
who
that.
has exactly, so what that does is that, I mean, how much can you deposit the cash into your account in the UK now? You probably will tell me. In fact, the rules have changed in the last 3 years. where
Yeah,
a third party cannot pay cash into your account in the UK, right? So in the
yeah.
same vein here, the AML-CFC filing by the banks will sort that out. If somebody is paying 100 million, 500 million into their account, and at the end of the day, they are declaring that they only made 50,000 naira, it'll be clear that this person, looking at the reports that are being submitted, is actually lying to government. So
Yeah,
we want people to be able to have the NIN first,
yeah, but
the,
at that level,
identity number
that's
and the
not
tax
we're,
number.
we're not actually interested at that level of funding or funds rather. 50 million, 25 million. No, we're talking about the common man. So the 80,000, 70,000,
Those
100,000,
ones, they don't
all
have
those
any
people.
problem.
Yes, you said
Nobody
you
is
have
going to solve. Nobody. What those all of those guys are going to be going tax free. That's what I told you.
yes, they're going to go
They
tax
are
free.
tax
But what
free,
about the
legit.
surveillance side of things? You're
My
still going to
There's no
put
brother,
need
that
for
let
burden on
surveillance.
them.
Nobody is
You're going to
surveilling
put
them. They don't even have anything to surveil. That's what we're
no,
saying. We're not looking. Let me tell. Okay, you know what? Sorry, is that Babajide? See, let me tell you
yes,
the concern of government. Okay, this government is
exactly.
not those small people at all. We know that there's money in this country. You guys abroad, you guys are the ones that would say Nigeria is corrupt, it's inefficient. We are trying to solve the inefficiency. So we want to try and solve the inefficiency, and you're the same people you're attacking us again.
And you
So
want
it
to use
doesn't
the
it
you want
doesn't
to use
sound
no, no,
fair,
no, we're not
really.
attacking, we're not attacking you, please. I want you to, we're actually trying to
Honestly,
work
that's what it
with
sounds
you.
like. You guys sound
Well,
very combatant about it.
no, no,
And
no, no, no.
honestly, I
Well,
told Dele I didn't want to come on this. I take this risk. You are never going to find, maybe you are never going to find any other government official to come on your show. Never.
no, 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 no,
I'm a
no.
risk
It's not,
taker, and
we're
I've
not.
been on the side. I've been where you're coming from in the past, so I understand. I ran for president in this country in
Of course,
2019, and
of
that's the kind
course.
of the reason why I'm confident enough to say, you know what, bring it on. Let me do as much enlightening as I can do to explain where we are.
Okay, so can I top off what you just said? Okay. Now, we are not trying to say that you're not doing enough per se, right? We know there are various factors, like you mentioned, Gaddafi, the West, how they took him down. We know all those things play out as well. So, where does the World Bank sit in this whole tax reform dynamic, if I may ask that question?
World Bank,
Yes, World
World
Bank,
Bank is a
the
bank.
support,
Do you
the
know that?
support, the support that
So
they're
let me
giving
say this.
you, around the common reporting standards, etc., etc. I mean, what role are
World
they
Bank is a bank.
play
World
within this?
Bank is a bank. We often make that mistake. World Bank is a bank that's looking for business. They're a profit-making organization. Whatever money they lend to African countries, they make an interest on it. That interest must be profitable for
Okay,
wherever they are coming from.
and we
Unfortunately,
use
we've allowed them for too long to make too much incursions into the economies of especially African countries, and then they begin to dictate. It's just like
oh, so
Barclays Bank coming to dictate to you how to run your family. It's
so
crazy,
you're
you know.
with us,
So
really with us
so
on that.
World Bank is a bank as far as I'm concerned, and we should reduce their influence on especially one month ago. And I was asking people, my first comment is shaking after you don't see us only African countries, and you want all their ministers of finance, vice president in America for what? Their vice president should be and see these people because you're making me from them.
Okay,
So as far as I'm concerned, and you know what, that awareness is growing, and some of us are pushing it. You know,
okay.
we're not gonna get there in a day, but we know what this is.
So
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 forget the World Bank.
hopefully we'll see some results from your side of the Nigerian government, hopefully soon, from the comments that you've made, because you
Oh
sounds
yes,
like at least
certainly.
you're pretty much aware, right? Which is what we need, and the steps that we need. Before you came on, discussed a lot of things around the IMF and the World Bank and the activities in Africa. It
Yeah,
seems like
they're bank. I mean, it's unfortunate. They're bloody bank. The debt will make profit. So we don't, you know, if HSBC or Halifax came to your house and they tell you when to send your children to school and all of that, that's crazy. And they can't be making inputs into your bedroom and all of that. This is almost what we're seeing now. But anyway, I think the problem is also that many African countries are compromised because maybe you have people who have been trained in those places, and some people have been trained in universities and then brainwashed into believing that Africa is rubbish, is full of
Yeah.
inefficiencies that can't be solved, and and only white men can come and solve the problem. So the point is this, and that's why I say that what we want from you guys who are in those countries is to say, okay, out of 12 inefficiencies, how can we sort 3 or 4? Remembering that, look, solving an inefficiency is a process, okay? It's a process. It's not going to be done overnight. You know, it takes time. And then as we move, are we measuring and banking our gains and progress? So that's the way I look at it.
Anyway,
Gentlemen, I really
thank you very
appreciate
much.
it.
Thank you
I
very
need to
much.
move now.
Thank you very much.
I really appreciate you, bro.
Like,
Another day we can discuss this, but I want you to know my mindset.
Yeah.
But I think I would love to come on another day, maybe
Yeah,
in a couple of
you know,
months'
you
time.
said it. You said it.
Today is
I'm gonna
just
hold you
crazy
to it.
for me.
Please
I'm
do
gonna hold
come
it.
on.
I'm gonna hold you to it.
Yeah, please do come on. And like I said, this is
Solid intellectual.
Yeah, brilliant.
I really want to push the idea. Then we can begin to solve our problems.
Okay, thank you, my brother. Thanks for coming. We appreciate you.
Fantastic.
Take care. Bye.
Thank you. Okay. So that was a difficult one, I think, because
that was the equivalent. Hold on, brother.
Okay.
Because I'm going to hold the two of you to task.
Yes.
That was the equivalent of us going to the ICC and expecting results. That was the equivalent of us going to the UK to speak to the UK government and expecting results.
Yep.
Nothing was said there that helped us in any way.
Nothing.
Useless conversation.
But yeah, it's
for me
a difficult one because I tried to.
And notice he didn't respond to me. Every time I spoke, all of a sudden confrontation. He didn't even recognize me. It was the gentleman. Okay, gentlemen, I'm back. No, this is part of the problem in our continent because we've been talking about men and women. This is part of the problem. And because he's an official, he can come and tell us, oh, you know, you don't get any other government official but me. Who cares? Why would we want a government official who doesn't even answer the true questions?
Yeah, this is one of
you how it's going to help the Nigerian people and you can't even answer that.
Yeah, and this is basically why I don't bring government officials on, but sometimes we got to tackle them, man. So I hope he comes back on again.
Because an observation I made, right, is that I would have liked to have I would have liked him to have engaged us differently, okay? In a more subtle, one-on-one question and answer style, but he just kept going on because it
didn't disappoint me because when he goes on the Arise TV, this is basically how he operates. So that's not surprised me. So
the man has a business in Dubai.
Yeah.
The man has a business in the UK. Let that tell you who we're dealing with. I'm sorry, guys. I'm gonna have to hold you to task. I'm on them.
This
is not a place where I
agree.
The government official has come and working on action. No.
Carry on. I mean, it is what it is.
I agree.
He's drawn the wrong conclusions in that he also thinks, oh, because we're in the UK or maybe we're in the US, we're trying to impose our thinking. No, this is not Western thinking.
Bro, it's been defensive, bro.
He's on defense because he's guilty.
Yeah.
Only guilt will have you operating the way he
does. Okay, guys, let's run this up, man. It's 2.5 hours in. Let's run this up.
It's unfortunate because it would have been nice if he could have joined us from the get-go. Because if he had joined us from the very beginning, then we'd have been able to at least he would have seen all.
I agree. It was deflecting. I agree with you. Yeah. Okay, Jide, conclusion for you, please, because this has gone on for too long. So
yes, I think so. I mean, based on our guests, how would I put it? Input, because I don't even know what to call it now because I didn't really engage. I had so many questions written down here that I wanted to ask. From the very outset of the
you don't want my word for it.
But obviously he didn't show up. So. But anyway, to sum it up, I still think the inefficiencies need to be taken care of. Funds like the 117 billion that was misappropriated, or alleged misappropriation by the NNPC that we're still looking for, that has to be accounted for. I mean, if you can't account for that, why do you want to tax the people? That's the bottom line here. If you cannot account for that, why do you want to, tax the people? And I'm not speaking from a UK or US perspective. I'm speaking from a Nigerian perspective. Take care of those taxes first, build the roads, or those inefficiencies rather. Use that money, build the roads. There's an article I just wrote, looking at Bolaji Akinyemi's Black Man's Burden. He delivered this lecture in 2005. He charted Nigeria between 1960 and 2005. Nigeria generated 300 billion in GDP, 19 billion of which were stolen, or which was stolen. 19 billion, that was in 2005. If you do the calculations, then you see how much that equates to. Now we're talking 117 billion that we can't find between 2017 and 2025. Do you know how many roads that can build? Do you know how many hospitals that can build? That's what I'm talking about. So this is not about me because I'm based in the UK. I want to impose Western norms on Nigeria. No, it's not about that at all. I've had so many of that. Many times you come from Nigeria, you're talking to someone, you say, you're in the UK, but IMF, are they not UK? World Bank, they're imposing their rules on you. Are they not foreign?
Brother, here's what this moment, and I'm grateful for it, as hard as it was to persevere through it. Here's what this moment taught us. A revolution is needed. We cannot use the system. We cannot use the government. We cannot use the government officials for what we want for Africa today. A revolution, a take down of government is what we need. We cannot operate under the current terms. If you all think that we're going to be able to restructure, reform, have conversations with a man who won't even let you speak, and that's one who he's not even the top ones. So imagine the top ones.
Nduku, let me add something to what you've just said. I was telling Dele earlier that in preparation for this presentation, and I want everyone watching this to go and search Tope Fasua on Arise News, right? And watch all the videos. He was exactly as we are now in 2023 or 2022, before this president came to power.
Nduku even wrote a book. I have his book on Kindle.
The man has a business in Dubai and in the UK.
So
yeah, it says everything anyway. Thanks, guys. One more before you go, Babajide. There's a question here. The question, I'm just going to put it on the screen so you can answer it, because it's been waiting there for a while. Why are they leaving and not wanting to return? Obviously, you're talking about people leaving and not wanting to return. So somebody's asking
the PhDs you spoke about.
The PhD people.
Is it the PhDs?
Yeah.
The question is, why are they leaving and not wanting to return to Nigeria? As in what did I say about the PhDs?
You said they're in the UK, they're in the US. That's where they're working. That's where they're using their PhDs.
Yeah. So there's a lot of them out here. Obviously, they're doing very well. How many Nigerian PhDs do you see go back to Nigeria to? Yeah, they prefer to stay in an economy that is quite efficient. They're doing very well. I mean, there's nothing wrong with that. But what I was trying to allude to earlier is that the PhDs in Nigeria are not being used effectively enough. And they're not being used effectively enough because the education is very, very Western. Yeah, it's not geared towards the economy. So there's always that pushback, like we just saw earlier. Again.
Yeah, Jide, there's something there for you. Somebody's suggesting. Can you read that?
Yeah. So this is.
We haven't had it. We're going to invite him for that specifically.
Yeah, that's gonna come. So that's a.
We'll do. Yeah, we'll do.
We're gonna create a series, and talk about.
Yeah.
We're gonna create a series. I think this is gonna be a series, guys. So we're gonna have different sectors, different industries. We're gonna break it down.
We'll do that.
Okay. Finally, before you go, bro, the customary thing. The question from Amakainsile to you is, how can Africans economics as a course be structured? So how can African economics as a course be structured as an African or Afrocentric university?
Wow, that's a very tough one, because obviously you have to mean that we engage with the academics first and foremost. Like I said, in the last couple of years, I was able to call and speak to one of the sorry, bear with me a second. I'm just trying to get back onto the main screen. I just lost that screen for a second. Where is it? Sorry. Yeah. So I think we need to, you know, government, get engaged with the various African governments, wherever you are in the world. If you have the capacity, just let's just start writing to the government or the education system to encourage them to come up with curriculum for these universities, because the universities, majority of the universities, especially from an economics perspective, from what I've found, still engage a lot in Adam Smith.
The colonial practice.
Yeah, the colonial practice. I mean, they're trying to change that at the primary level, but we need to do that at the government level as well, at these the tertiary and the tertiary and secondary levels. They need to we need to make sure that everything that we're engaging with is localized. Okay, the education needs to be localized. We take what we've learned from the London School of Economics, the Cambridge and Co, and we customize it to how it applies on ground. It is only when we do that can we find a way forward, because in doing that, all the parameters that I've cited in my data sets today will come out, because you're then looking at the facts. So off the back of facts, you can then start postulating theories that work for African economies.
So, quick question. I'll add a question before we take yours.
Yes.
Given that these governments do not collect data, at least not for this purpose, given that they're not putting up policies to defend that, wouldn't a better option be for us to build outside of the government these education systems that we seek to help us?
Okay, so I'll take the last question first. So would it not be better to build outside? Whilst I think it's good to build outside, I also think it's not good to build outside. And I'll take it from the Nigerian perspective, because I always complain about one thing. There are a lot of private universities in Nigeria, right? So people who feel the system didn't work for them or is not working, they made money and they go and create new universities alongside the old traditional universities. Do you know what my recommendations are? I would prefer all these rich people that go and create their own universities, who studied in the old universities, to go back to the old universities and actually put their money on the table and engage with the university and say, okay, you know what? I'm going to create or enhance the economics department. I mean, if the person is narcissistic, I'll say, okay, you're going to name it after me, and I'll be donating X amount every year to the cause of that department. That's how it's done. That's how it should be done. Because all these private universities that are being created indirectly is an inefficiency, because guess what? They're taking the same lecturers that are in the old universities, they pay them more, and they go to the new universities, thereby doing what? Degrading the old universities. That's what's happening. It's a cycle that I don't know whether we understand it or not, where we're cutting off our nose most of the time to spite our face.
But what you described is a capitalist private university. I'm talking about revolutionary people. Again, where capitalism is not centered, where helping your people is the grounding, right?
I agree.
Different scenario.
I agree with the way you've put it. But yes, so if we can find a revolutionary businessman, let me not call the person a revolutionary capitalist, a revolutionary businessman, African, who says, you know what, I want to give back to my society, and I'm going to go back to my alma mater, maybe studied in University of Lagos. I go back to the engineering department. I'm going to put my money where my mouth is and be part of the regime that says, okay, this is how we're going to sort of order the playbook in this university from today henceforth. That will be if it can be adopted, that would be a very, very good approach. Then you're streamlining the education facilities in the country. There's focus. Everybody is involved. You know, education in Nigeria at the moment is chaotic. It's all over the place. You know, and in the end, I've had people who go to these new universities, they graduate, they come here, and they're so taken aback by, you know, the difference. Like, wow, I've never done this before. I didn't know, you know, this is the way they did things. I said, okay, why? So what's the difference then? You've gone from, you chose not to go to the state university, you've gone to the private, but what are you getting? Meanwhile, you could have, the person who put the money in the private could have leveraged on the existing infrastructure to add value to the community.
My brother, this is basically what our generation did wrong, sadly.
Yes, now, yes.
That's our generation. Anyway, question for our next guest. Question for our next guest, please, bro.
Wow. Okay, so I think taking from, you know, how this today's presentation has gone, I think I would say I would like to ask the next guest how he or she would tackle the mindset of our potential leaders. Yeah. How would you go about dealing or tackling them, because there's a mindset issue here in terms of how we look at our economy, how we look at each other. You know, because somebody is living in the UK doesn't mean he's looking down on Nigeria. Because somebody, I have a friend too, is Zimbabwean, same thing, goes back to Zimbabwe. It's like, oh yeah, because you live in the UK, you think you can come here and dictate to us. No, we don't do that. So how do you think we can tackle that? How do you think we can tackle the mindset of Nigerians who think, or Africans who think, because you're coming from the diaspora, you're looking down on people in Africa?
Okay, thanks, my brother. Thanks for your time.
You're welcome.
It's been a very, very, very interesting one, guys. For those of us who have followed all the way through, thank you for being there. Some of us have been there steady all the way through. We appreciate you. Draw your own conclusions, guys. We are doing these things to basically awaken our minds and basically for you to see exactly how deeply entrenched our challenges are. So thanks for being part of this.
Thank you very much.
Thank you for your continued hard work, brother. I'm sure it's not easy to get these data sets.
No, it isn't, but you know, it's good. We'll continue, and let's start the series.
Let's pray a series. I'll have a conversation with you. We can start a series. All right, thanks everybody. We'll see you next week. We're back next